to come around because time is money and time is of essence. So we're going to start immediately. We are looking at inventory management today. Okay, so what we see here is just the fact that some of those things will serve as a reminder to some of us. Please, let's try and mute our mics, please. Let's mute our mics, okay? If you need to say anything, just put it on the comment section. We'll try as much as possible to make use of the chat box. So if you have anything, any question, any doubt, just put it there. If you're not hearing me clearly, or there is anything you want me to come back to explaining, just put it on the chat box and we'll try and do justice to that. Well, please, let's try and have a very seamless conversation and interaction, void of, distractions and what have you. So please, having said that, I want to welcome Mr. Zachariah, my honorable chairman. I want to welcome Mr. Obong Albert. I want to welcome Mr. Victor Owe, and I want to welcome T. Mr. Matthias, you're welcome. So if you can hear me, just wave. If you can hear me, just wave. If you can hear me, just wave. Just indicate, say something, do something. Let me know that.
We can. Good morning, Mr. Friday. We can hear you.
All right, thank you. All right, Zachariah, I can see you waving. T, are you there? T, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
It's that voice that I wanted to hear. Thank you for being around. I hope you won't run before the end of the class, because most of my questions
till the end of the class.
Most of my questions today will be directed to you from beginning to the end. So get prepared. Last week you do me Ojoro. This week you will not do that again. All right, so let's kick the ground running. We are looking at inventory management, okay? So just work on its own without management in place, okay? So you show me inventory and I'll show you management. I can manage, but without any inventory. But I cannot have my inventory well done without management. So you see how interrelated they are. You see how they're intertwined. You see how compatible they are, meaning that inventory cannot work independently without what? Management. But management can work without inventory. I can be a manager, an operations manager. I know nothing about inventory. I can be a purchasing manager. There is no inventory there. I can be this, no inventory. But if I am an inventory manager, I can never do without what? Without management. So what then is inventory management. When you talk about inventory management, it's simply making reference to, we talked about supply chain management last time. We dissected and brought out some points and all of that. Now, inventory is an aspect of what supply chain management. It's an aspect. Supply chain management is never complete, can never be complete without an effective and efficient inventory management system on ground. Okay? So, what does this entail? It is your responsibility as an inventory manager to place order, to store the goods, effective utilization of the goods, selling also the company's products. When we talk about inventory, we are not only making reference to from the point of production to the point of storage to the point of warehousing, distribution, and then you get to the final consumer. In other words, inventory is not all about the producer and the customer. No, it goes beyond that. Your suppliers also are part of the inventory control mechanism that you might have. Your suppliers, they are part of the system. Why are they part of the system? Because they are the first points that you deal with. The point of getting the materials from your suppliers. How do you get materials when there are no proper steps, proper measures put on ground in order to be able to accommodate whatever product, whatever materials that you have procured for that purpose of production? So we go to say that your inventory starts with your supplier. It starts with what? Your supplier. Meaning that you must put in place everything that will help the smooth operation, the smooth transition, the smooth movement. I am an inventory manager, for crying out loud. We want to procure raw materials from our suppliers. What have I put in place? What contacts have I made? What operations have I been able to put on ground? How are we going to bring the product from where it is to the facility where we are? This is what we are saying, that it goes beyond just your company and what the final consumer. Your suppliers, your vendors are part of the inventory control system that you must put mechanism in order to do what? To actualize this. So it includes what? The management of raw materials. The management of raw materials. Like I stated, the raw material is situated somewhere. How do you move them to the facility? The raw material is somewhere. How do you negotiate? The raw material is somewhere. How do you ascertain the authenticity, the originality, the standard of that raw material? It is in your place
as now.
An inventory manager.
Okay.
Please mute your micro. Please mute your microphone, please. Mute it, please. Thank you.
It is in your place to ensure that there's a smooth movement of this raw materials from wherever it is to where you want it to be. That is what managing your raw materials, okay? And having brought them from wherever it was to where it should be, how are you able to store them for future use, pending when the production will will come up, progress. How do you store them? What are the modalities for storing these raw materials? Okay. Having stored them, why are you getting this amount of materials as against what should be gotten? What propelled you to getting this voluminous amount of this material?
Good morning, everybody. Mr. Friday is currently having network issues. So please, let's just be patient. He will be with us shortly. Thank you.
Hello. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
so we
ma'am.
talk about, we talk about, the components, the finished product, as well as warehousing and then processing of such items. There is something I need to drive on with this, okay? Inventory management is not complete. No matter what items, all of these components that you want to put in place, for all of these to be what it is, there must be inventory management forecasting. That is the most important. There must be what? Forecasting. If you do not forecast, you will overprocure the materials. If you do not forecast, you get materials that the warehouse cannot even accommodate. If you do not forecast, you will not even know the requirement, the orders, the demands in the market. As a result of that, there will be what? Wastages, which is not okay for what? Every organization, because resources will be in jeopardy. So whatever the case is, there must be an effective and efficient forecasting. That's what we are trying to say here. So we said that this is the process of overseeing and controlling the movement of goods in a company from the time they are ordered to the time they are sold. From the time they are ordered, from the time they are sold. Okay? The order has been placed. It is taken into consideration. We have placed order from or with our suppliers. We have placed orders with our suppliers. We are now monitoring the process we are now controlling, we are overseeing that there is a smooth movement of these goods in the right condition, the right quality, the right quantity, right toward the facility, the company. Okay? So we also do what? Manage the flow of product into and out of a company's warehouse or storage facilities, ensuring that the right products are available in the right quantities at the right time. Okay? So this is what inventory is simply talking about. It's just like an accountant that is an auditor. Okay? There's a difference between an accountant and what? An auditor. They perform different functions, but still in what? In financial or in stock or material forms or whatever. Now, the auditor ensures that within the organization, within the company, every stock that comes in is accounted for. Every stock that goes out is equally accounted for. So at the end of the financial year, you have stock in and stock out. Balance sheet to reflect what is being retained within the facility. Who are the people that are owing the organization? What is the profit so far that the organization has made as a result of the stock that we have at our disposal? This is the function of an auditor in an organization. So also the function of an inventory manager. You want to know all the products, all the materials, physical and non-physical, that is within the organization. That is why overseeing and controlling comes in. Nobody uses material whenever they feel like using. There must be what? Total control. That is one of the responsibilities of an inventory manager. Overseeing and controlling the movement of goods from the facility to where it should be. Then we talk about the purchase, the production, the transfer in, stock out, the sales, raw materials, transfer out, and shrinkage. Okay? Now, you could recall when I said that one of the most important elements in inventory management is forecasting. Look at it here. Inventory management involves a number of key activities, including what? Forecasting demand, monitoring stock levels, optimizing ordering and replenishing processes, setting safety stock levels, and what? Reducing the cost of carrying inventory. Who is an inventory manager that will not put all of these elements, activities into consideration? Then you have a failed inventory management system in operations. A failed what? Inventory management system. So when we talk about monitoring stock level, see, what are we making reference to? You can speak, please. See, what are we making reference to when we talk about stock level? monitoring the stock levels.
Hello, good morning.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, please.
Good
Go ahead.
morning. So monitoring
See,
stock
you
level.
can one after another. T. After T, then you can speak, sir.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. So, when we talk about inventory level.
Hello, can you hear me? This is T.
Yes. Yes. Go on, please.
Okay. Okay. I think when you say monitoring stock level, this could mean a process by which maybe the inventory manager can record and maybe update their inventory data, as in this kind, the transactions, the movement, the sales, the purchases, the transfers, anything that occurs.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. All right, sir.
Over to you,
Thank
sir.
Okay, monitoring. My name is Victor. Yeah.
Yes.
So monitoring stock levels is a process whereby you control the in and out of your inventory. Ensure that what goes out and what comes in are recorded. So you, at a particular or at a given time, you know what you have at hand in your inventory. That's you are monitoring the stock levels of the warehouse.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. That's simply the explanation to that. Everything that comes in and everything that goes out. Okay. We talk about optimizing ordering and replenishing processes, setting safety stocks levels, and reducing the cost of carrying inventory. Now, I want to ask Mr. Mr. Ambrose, how do you manage an organization, a company that does not believe in keeping of information or data? Mr. Ambrose, are you there? Okay. See, can you attempt that? How do you work with an organization that does not believe in data or what I simply mean is you go to an organization, okay, they just tell you, hey, the MD say you should give her 3 cartons.
Okay.
It is the order of the MD and nobody questions it.
Okay.
They returned it. I don't really know when, no, but I'm sure my mind cannot fail me. I think we supply them, but I cannot really say what quantity. How, as an inventory manager, if you find yourself in such an organization, how will you operate?
I think the first thing I'll do is to enlighten them on the need to have like a proper data.
Okay.
Issues that you can't account for. So if I were to be the one, I'll first of all enlighten them on the need to have data, a proper data management. Then we can carry on from there.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Victor.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I've been raising my hand though.
Oh,
hello?
Sorry.
Hello.
Sorry, please. Madam
This
Ogechi.
is
Madam
Ambrose.
Ogechi.
Marcus Oluwatosin that is raising her hand. Marcus.
Okay, Oluwatosin. After Oluwatosin, Victor, you speak, please. Oluwatosin, over to you. How will you handle such an organization?
Okay. Thank you so much for the privilege. So if I happen to find myself in such organization, first of all, I have to do a check of what's the norm in that organization and try to monitor what happens there. So from my hand, I'm going to be doing some bit of recording. I want to get facts because if I'm meant to convince any C-suite or because if I'm going to be making a case for them to buy into this idea of having a recorded, having inventory, management of data, So I need to get some facts. I need to get a data. So, and I also need a baseline. So getting the baseline is me monitoring what happens and how. So, and I'm going to be deriving my data based on what happens as well. So I'm going to have a baseline, and after about probably few months, it depends on how things happen in that organization, I'm going to be presenting a data that will show what used to be and what is now with my data. So with my data, I can then present it to the management and put them through and see what we can take. For example, if maybe if an organization has not been monitoring their inventory level, just like the question you asked before, if you don't monitor your inventory, you can even have products that expire. You can have a situation whereby you have produced some batches of products that are supposed to have gone out probably earlier in the year, and you eventually, because you people don't manage your data, you don't have anything called inventory management, you can decide to push out the one that you just did this month, whereas the one that you've done earlier this year will be lying in stock, and which can eventually lead to wastage and so many things. It can lead to probably expiry and all. So I'm going to give them that kind of data and show them that, oh, because I've been able to track all of this, I have been able to push out products by batches, and I've prevented expiry by so amount of, I can give them some data, you understand? Oh, throughout last year, because we didn't monitor, we didn't do anything data-wise, look at the total number of commodity or product that expired, and look at due to this year that we have been able to have some little bit of visibility, some data, and some form of inventory management. We have been able to save so amount of products from expiry, and we've been able to have more sales and all of those things. So if I find myself, I believe that if I present that kind of data to any suit, they will believe in me, and they will see more reason why they have to address, gear towards that kind of system. And if there is any training that any members of the organization need to get involved in order to support that kind of innovation, I'm so sure that they'll be so willing to do that. So I believe if I find myself as an inventory manager in such an organization, I will be able to pull through.
Wow, thank you very much. That's well explained. Any other person, Mr. Victor?
Good morning, sir.
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah, Mr. Victor, can hear you.
This is Ambrose, not Victor.
Okay, Ambrose. Sorry,
Yes,
Mr. Ambrose.
thank you. Now, my network was a little bit disturbing me.
Okay, that's why you couldn't hear me. Yeah.
But basically, based on the experience that I have in inventory management, I happen to be in an organization where the team that was working on the inventory part of it couldn't believe in keeping the record. But the first step that I took, it was to discuss with the management of the institutions and to have a buy-in idea on how important, and some of the data that I was able to present to them during my discussion with them, it was how we are getting the wasted in terms of the cost. When inventory are not properly being controlled or their information, there are a lot of waste. As my sister explained, there's a lot of expiry, a lot of spoilage that come in, and it actually is more expensive than when we keep the record properly. Then when they buy in my idea, I moved on with the team that was not appreciating keeping the record and the data. We made an engagement of agreeing. I took them through the important, why do we need to keep the inventory? Why do we need to keep all these records and tracking them time and again for commodities that come in and moved out? How are we supposed to document them? Really, one thing I love, they appreciated. So after that, our engagement, we came together as a team and started reorganizing the warehouse, aligning things, setting it up, trying to do the physical count to ensure that everything is properly documented, because it was really bulky. It's like over some 3 years that the transaction, people are not keeping the record. But the best we would start was to do the physical count instant and start documenting it, the stock cards, ensure that all the issue and requisitions are in place, well fully approved, and properly filed at a cabinet. You know, whenever people do a request, they need to have this document filed for proper accountability and record. And really, I'm impressed as I talk now. When you walk into that institutional warehouse, yeah, I feel impressed. You see things have changed. You see things are moving. Everyone appreciate. But at the start, it was quite challenging. A number of team, the stakeholders came in and said, no, but that is not your department. I said, no, I'm just trying to help the institution to appreciate that togetherness, working together, and it is really impressive. That's one thing that I feel like I need to share with the team. And the team is moving on well. Records are properly being kept. And one thing I love with them, where they have a challenge, the team that is I'm working with, they're able to communicate. Whether I'm within or I'm not within, they call and said, yes, sir, we have not got this right. How do we handle it? And really, this is thank you.
Thank you so much. You see, I always like us to be very practical about this because we are all professionals in our different fields of endeavor, okay? The reason why I threw that question to us is, we see you are going in as a change agent. It's not going to be easy. The reason why I am saying it's not going to be easy is because you are coming to close the loopholes that other people are feeding from illegally. So you will definitely face stiff opposition to the point that you request for documents from, they'll just tell you they don't have it. The storekeeper will tell you, sorry, I don't have it. You go to the account will tell you, I don't have it. Whereas some of these people, they have this document at their disposal, but because they have seen you as a change agent who is coming to close the river, to sanfill the river so that they don't eat in an illegal way, they will try everything possible to frustrate your effort. See, I have been to and I've worked with a couple of companies where we need to analyze data in order to get the result. Do you know, especially the people in the production industry, those guys are something else when it comes to being dubious. What do I mean? From the procurement manager to the production manager to the supervisor, they have a chain, not supply chain, a chain of illegality that go on there. So the procurement manager knows exactly what quantity to inflate. The accountant knows how much each of those items will cost, and they also do what? Inflate. The production manager knows exactly how many products will come out from each of those material. They manipulate. The supervisor ensures that no other person is seeing. The warehouse manager ensures that they separate their own product from the company's product in order for them to do what? Make profit. So if there's any order that comes in, it is their product that sells first. It is their product that goes out first. See, we went to that company. We said we needed the data, the information from the procurement manager down to even the logistic manager. We face stiff opposition. Stiff opposition. They refused giving us the data because they knew that once a thorough analysis is done, some people are already on their way out of that job. So you go and they tell you, sir, in fact, my office, I just came and I saw that rats had eaten some of the papers, and unfortunately, the document you are asking for is one of the. You are still keeping papers at this point in this dispensation. What happens to the ones that even had it on their system will tell you, my system got corrupted yesterday. Why yesterday? Simply because they knew that something of this is going to happen. So what am I trying to say? If you are going in as a change agent in inventory management, you will face what? Stiff opposition. But do not be deterred. Let your work speak for you. Use what you have to get the result that you want. Okay? So we talk about some of the importance of inventory management in business. What are some of the importance of inventory management to a business?
It prevents wastages.
Marcus, it prevents what? Wastages. Lean factor is brought in.
Yeah.
Six Sigma is brought in. Because when there is a proper inventory management system on ground, you know what is available and you know what is not available. You know what to get and what not to get. You know what goes out and what came in. There's a proper record on ground that at a glance, it shows you stock in, stock out. At a glance, it shows you the movement of goods from one location to another. So this what helps to eliminate what wastages in the organization. Any other person? Any
Yeah,
other person?
Mr. Friday. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so inventory management improves accuracy, it saves time and costs, and it also improves business planning. You know, the company can plan very well if it uses inventory management accurately, and it can also improve customer experience and customer satisfaction.
Thank you so much. It can improve customer satisfaction. A proper inventory control system on ground improves customer expectation and satisfaction. It saves costs. Why should we procure materials that we already have in the warehouse? The supplier, the vendor may not be willing to take it back. What if not even taking it back, you just brought it without even checking, you opened it, about to use, you now discover that you have about 5,000 to 10,000 in the warehouse and it was not well communicated. That money that would have been used for something else is now being tied down. So it improves, it helps in cost saving, it helps in satisfaction of customers, meeting customers' expectation. It helps in bringing that confidence because the customer knows exactly what you are in for. You are an effective planner. Inventory management also helps the organization to plan. There's no way you do your forecasting that does not warrant you to plan. Demand forecasting entails planning. Procurement entails planning. Production entails planning. So this is what inventory management does to an organization. Any other person? Any other person? Sarah, are you there? Albert, are you there? Mishikwende, are you there?
Hello.
Yes.
So inventory management, it also helps you manage your stock level, as in you know what comes in through the production process into the store and what has gone out and what you have remaining with a proper inventory management.
Yes. Just for you to understand that it helps you not to overstock or understock, because there's what? Plan, strategic plan on ground. You don't need to do what? Overstock the place, not knowing. You say, anyways, I am stocking by faith. I am a man of faith. I'm stocking by faith. The demand will be high next 2 weeks. By next month, December, the demand will be high. What gives you the impression that being a festive period, that the demand will be high? You see, it's like the cost of transportation now. The cost of transportation locally and internationally is very high compared to about 2-3 years ago. Okay, you could just pick a ticket just to travel to Abuja, and you are spending less than 20,000 naira just to go. Your return, let's say approximately 50K return ticket. As I speak to you, return ticket, depending on the airline, as at this week, was going for about 185,000, 200,000, 225,000. Now, the number of people that traveled for festive period 3-4 years ago can never be compared to the number of people that will be traveling in December. A family of 4 that is spending to and fro 250,000, and you have 4 people, haba. What are you going? Who is pursuing you from where you are to where you are going to? What are you going to look for there? You'll be spending about 1.3 to 5 million just for air tickets. So if you are not making your projection, if you are not making your forecasts, it will be insane as an inventory manager in any of the airlines to tell your organization that based on your forecast, you are estimating about 10,000 people to travel with your airline in the month of December. You might just be shooting yourself on the foot. Why? The economic condition is never the same compared to 3-4 years ago. You could travel to US with 350,000. You could travel to UK with 250,000. Today is about 1.3 million. So what are we saying? That for you to be able to maximize the material at your disposal, there is need for you to do what? Carry out a comprehensive, holistic analysis of data to give you projection of future expectation. So that you don't just believe in, we used to do it before. It's going to be like that by faith. They love us. They love us. Hence, it's going to be like that. The answer is no. Fine, they love you, but do they have the capacity to express themselves? The answer is no. So we must ensure that this is put into consideration. Then we talk about prevent stock out. Just like what somebody mentioned, for you to have a comprehensive, effective inventory management structure system on ground, it prevents stock out. At a glance, you are able to know what stock is available. You don't run out of stock at any point in time. It is only when you don't operate a very comprehensive system that you can run out of stock. A customer is requesting, oh, sorry, oh, I'm sorry to say we are out of stock. If you had done a proper, comprehensive, well-detailed analysis, forecasting, there shouldn't be any need you running out of stock. So this prevents organization from running out of stock. Then we said it improves what? Customer satisfaction. Once things are done the way it should be done, customers are satisfied. I place an order, I get my product at the right time, the right quantity, the right quality, the right price. I am satisfied. Okay, so effective inventory management helps business to do what? Improve customer satisfaction by ensuring that the products are always available for sale. I am in need of it. That's why I'm calling to place an order. I don't want to be told is out of stock. This can lead to increased sales and a more positive reputation for the organization, for the company, for the business. They say those ones they are top notch. Whenever you want their products, they are always available. That is a good testimony. It's confidence as to what you can give, as to what you can do, as to what the organization, the company stands for. So it boosts what? The reputation of the organization. It drives more sales. And there's what? Referrals. So you say, my company, I say, those leave them. See, I can tell you that my company, even if you wake them in the middle of the night and place an order, they have it. From January to December, they have it. The other person, are you sure? Are you sure? Okay, let me patronize them. And they patronize and get the same result. They spread the same news to other people. By the time you know it, you are beginning to get more customers by way of referrals as a result of what? Customer satisfaction and what? Reputation that you have built. So inventory management operations are the activities involved in managing a company's inventory. The operations, like we talked about operations management, what you do on a daily basis to ensure that the business keeps moving, keeps running in order to get results. So we say that demand forecasting is what? A key factor. It's the process of predicting future demands for a company's product. This information is used to determine how much inventory to order, just like we said a few minutes ago. We talk about inventory planning. You plan in order to determine the level of inventory to have on hand. Your planning is a resultant effect of the demand, the lead time, the carrying cost. When we talk about carrying costs, what do we mean by carrying cost? What do we mean by carrying cost? Victor, what do we mean by carrying cost? Raymond, what do we mean by carrying cost? Sarah, Ogechi, Albert, Nishikwene. Yes, what do we mean by carrying cost?
So carrying cost for inventory could be the cost that are associated with you keeping your stock active. There's the cost of maybe the cost of renting the space, the cost of the manpower that's maintain the stock in the company. So these are the carrying costs.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hello.
Okay, Raymond.
Yeah.
Are you with us? Raymond, are you with us? Okay. So when we talk about
okay.
When we talk about inventory planning, talking about carrying cost, like the last speaker said, all of the costs associated in the process of procuring, storing that material. For example, I come to Mr. Victor that I want to procure material. The raw material. Mr. Raymond, can you mute your mic, please? Raymond, can you mute your mic, please? Mr. Victor says the cost of the raw material is 1 million naira, and I pay. That is what the cost for the material, the raw material. But will the material just move from where it is, disappear to my facility? The answer is no. We factor in transportation. How much did we use in bringing that material from where it was to where it should be? How much? It could have been factored in. Mr. Victor will say, okay, the material is 1 million naira, but our transportation cost of carrying this product to where you are is maybe 100,000. That is 1,100,000. I am coming to a facility where possibly I outsource it. It's a rented warehouse. For me to keep this goods, I must pay for it. How much is the storage facility for these goods? 50,000. It is factored. Okay, who is the person that is going to help the manpower or the store manager, the warehouse manager that will be there? How much is it? It is factored into. Okay, for us to ensure that these materials does not get missing, what do? Employ a security. For the purpose of this material, how much is that? It's collecting 30,000 naira. So at the end of the day, you could see that this raw material is not only 1 million naira, but it has moved towards about 1.5 million. These are what carrying costs, all the costs that is associated in procuring, producing, and storing these raw materials. Thank you very much, Mr. Victor. Then we talk about inventory control. You have the control. There's a forecast. There's planning. Once the plan is translated, the next thing that is left for you to do is what is to control. This is the process, ensuring that the company has the right amount of inventory on hand at the right time. This includes activities such as what? Ordering, receiving, storing, and issuing inventory. That is what control. We have received, we have ordered, we have received, we have stored, we are issuing it. Who is authorized to issue? At what point? For what purpose? Who signs? Who gives the approval? What document do you have to show that this product was issued out to you? What corresponding document do you receive to show that this person was issued and he received the product, and it is documented for what? For future reference. This is what control. Once you are able to do this, like Oluwatosin said when she was making a point, once you are able to do this, you know exactly who does what is left, who is in custody of what and what not. It gives you total control of what is at your disposal. that at a glance, you go to your bin and you see it. You check the possible software that you are using, you see it. You check your tracking software, it is there. There's nothing like I think actually you see it is not, I can explain. Let me think about it. There's nothing to think. The figures, the documents are right open. That is inventory control, taking total possession, total grasp of what has been given. Then the evaluation, determine the value of a company's inventory. This is important for financial reporting and for making decisions about inventory levels. You evaluate the inventory. How do you evaluate? The product that has been transformed, of what value does it have on the organization? What have we made out of this? Are we running on a loss, or we are maximizing profit, or we are breaking even? You have to evaluate. Is it worthwhile? Is it a viable business, or we are just wasting our time, wasting resources? You need to evaluate it. Of what importance, of what value is it adding to the organization? The inventory, of what value is it adding to the suppliers? Of what value is it adding to the customers? Of what value is it adding to the employers, the employees?
Hello. I don't know if it's from my end. I seem
Oh,
not to hear.
hello, I'm hearing you, Madam Marcos. Sorry, Mr. Friday is currently having network hitches. Okay, he's back. He's back. Okay.
Sorry, a call came in. That's why. So, what am I trying to say? It doesn't matter the size of the business. What matters most is what you are doing. It doesn't matter the size of the business. So, Mrs. Marcos will say, Mr. Gabriel, don't worry. The reason why I'm not taking inventory seriously is because this my shop is very small. This office that I'm managing is not that big. So there's nothing to carry out. No, nothing. Don't worry. By the time I get to a bigger, larger office that can accommodate 1 million products, you will see me. You know that I'm very good at inventory. The truth of the matter is, the same attitude that you displayed when you had a single office that you manage is the same attitude that you display when you have a bigger one. If you do not take care of little things, you cannot take care of the bigger ones. So it starts from the little that you have, the little space that you have. In that your organization, in that your office where you are put in to operate, don't look at it that it is small. What the organization wants is results. So the size of the organization of the business is inconsequential. Okay, so by managing inventory effectively, businesses can reduce cost. improve customer service, and increase their profit. That is just the thing. Overstocking, stock out will be avoided. Mismanagement of raw materials will be avoided. Overproduction will be avoided. Wastages will be what? Avoided. This is what it gives us. So we talk about some of the techniques, okay? Some of the inventory management techniques. For you to be an efficient inventory manager, there are some techniques that you can adopt, okay? And we'll look at it. We'll say there are a number of different inventory management techniques that businesses can use. The best techniques for a particular business will depend on the number of factors, such as the type of business, the products that are sold, and the size of the business. What are we trying to say? All of these techniques has its own peculiarity. It functions based on the kind of business that you operate, based on the size of the business, based on the products of that business. So I can decide to use just in time as my technique. Mrs. Tosin may not be able to use just in time. She might decide to use economic order quantity. She might decide to use MRP. She might decide to use other techniques, the ABC, the drop shipping, and so on. So we are not competing with anybody. What you need to know is what technique best suits your organization based on your line of business. We talk about just-in-time inventory. Just-in-time inventory is a system where inventory is only ordered when it is needed. There are people that operate such businesses. They only order when it is needed. Can somebody give me an example of just-in-time inventory kind of business? Just-in-time. Can somebody give me an example? Quickly, please.
Toyota is one example of just-in-time inventory.
Toyota.
And Coca-Cola.
Okay. Perishable goods are good examples of just-in-time orders.
Sir, I will agree with you. Yeah, perishable goods. Coca-Cola, do we really say it is just in time? Do they produce based on the techniques of JIT? I need clarification on that. Anybody, please?
No, not necessarily, but mainly during seasonal periods, they tend to increase their production to meet up with the demand for such seasons. Okay. Or maybe when somebody have an occasion and you place a special order and they want to increase their production to be able to meet up with such a request.
Okay. Any other person, just in time, an example of just in time inventory techniques? Victor, are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
Like I said, I mentioned Toyota, and I think Coca-Cola, but I can't be sure. But I know Toyota operates this inventory method in the sense that they only, like when they are manufacturing their cars, they get the parts as out what they want to produce, so that they don't, after the end of the production, they don't have stock in the warehouse where it's okay, we have so number of things for this particular brand of vehicle. So once they made their plan for the production, they get all what they want and they produce, and it's off to the market.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's the reason you. Okay.
Yes.
Zakaria.
Yes. Can I say that the restaurant system, the restaurant is an example of
Just in time.
just-in-time inventory management system, because if it is when you order that they'll now make delivery. So I can say that the restaurant is perfect example of just-in-time inventory system.
Yes, thank you very much. That is apt. Okay. The Toyota, that's the reason you have different models. Different models, they'll tell you this brand of car is 2022. This brand of car is 2023. Once they have their projection, they've done their forecast, they know what they want to achieve, the plant is now translated, they get all the parts that will give them 2024 model of cars. And once that is done, they push it into the market. The next thing they will be thinking of is 2026, 2027, 2030 model. So they can also be regarded as they operate in this technique. Then you talk about the restaurant, an exact, perfect, just-in-time techniques. They don't cook down. Madam, what do you want? I want one bowl of egusi soup with goat meat. You have it in 2 hours. They just do it and they deliver. That's exactly what just-in-time techniques. So they don't cook it down that egusi soup will be in their freezer for 5 weeks. Hello? They don't do that. So that is what just-in-time. Now, this organization understand the peculiarity of their business, what they are into. That's the reason they are using JIT inventory techniques in order to get their business up running. Then we talk about MRP. We say that MRP is a system that uses demand forecast to determine the amount of raw materials and components that are needed to produce a product. MRP is material requirements planning. Based on the forecast, we are able to know what kind of product, what kind of material do we need. Just like the Toyota, they come to a particular location, geographical location, to a particular continent. They study how people live their lives. They study how people live their lives. And they say, okay, based on this, we are going to do what? Make the materials based on our study. We are going to get the materials available because we know that sooner or later, the demand will start coming. iPhone 16, maybe 15 is out. Some people are agitating for iPhone 17 and 18 already. Apple are putting their ears down to hear what the people are saying so that they can know what kind of material they will be going for based on the demand from the people. It's just like a typical Nigerian. 2023 model of cars is already outdated. Some people have started using 2024 already. Once they get to January, to them it is outdated. They are looking for 2026. So MRP system helps to do what? To use demand forecast to determine the amount of raw materials and the components that are needed to produce a product. This can help business to avoid stock out and ensure that they have the right amount of inventory on hand to meet demand. Once that is done, Apple will go stock their facility with what? With materials, because of what? They are envisaging that come June next year, 2024, Nigerians will start agitating for iPhone 17. In order for them not to be put under pressure, they start getting the products, they start having a prototype of how it will look like, the components and what have you. This is MRP. Can somebody give me an example? Mr. Victor. Mr. Victor, an example. Mr. Okay.
Example.
Mr. Teso, if you are here. Ogechi, Sarah, T. Okay. Can I have an example?
Let me say something. I don't know
Yes,
if
please.
it's accurate, but I think garment production company, they make use of this kind of process.
Garment
Material
production.
company.
Yes. Garment production company. Thank you very much. December is coming. You will see people trying to do what? Showcase, sitting as a family with Christmas tree, and then they are wearing their Christmas pajamas to snap pictures and flood the whole internet. The garment industry are moving into this any moment from now. Material requirements planning, because they know that the demand will be high. From second week, third week of December, you start seeing your internet flooded with families, sitting together, taking pictures with their Christmas pajamas and what have you, and what have you. So that's a typical example. Yes, Victor. Are you there?
Okay, sir. Hello.
Okay, T.
Yes. How about a chemical manufacturing company? Because they produce these chemicals too in bulk.
Okay. A chemical manufacturing company. Well, that can also fly, but provided that the forecast for the demand has been carried out. And based on the trend over the years, that it's always skyrocketing, the demand is always skyrocketing. Fine, they also can do that. Because the thing is, there's a segment, is it businesses function as a result of what they have been able to put up over the years. Forecasting is not all about what are we going to produce. Will they accept it? What if you forecast wrongly in an environment that your product is not acceptable? So geographical location of business is also important. We are taking this to the global level. What if, as an inventory manager, you are in a country where such product is not acceptable, and then you are carrying out a forecast, and then your forecasting is not what it should be because of the acceptability of the product. So, in other words, you must try as much as possible to ensure that wherever the company, whatever line of business that you are in, it is globally accepted. Globally accepted. So, fine. Chemical, yes, Ogechi. Chemical companies is also part of it. Yes, Ogechi.
Yes. Okay, sir. Another example could be, during the dry seasons, there is a need for more water intake. So companies that produce water could forecast that more production based on the previous years, that maybe they should produce more based on demand of maybe bottled water this period, or pure water, whatever it is that they are producing, but fluid intake. And then also seasonal products like drinks. During this festive period, production rates should be increased because there's a lot of parties, a lot of Christmas events that will need people to consume more of such, of soda.
Yes. Had a contract to supply the washing hand station for the institute, 50 pieces, 150. That is, and then all the offices in the university. What as a result of the challenges that we face ourselves. So until some requirement is made, some is made out of pending situations. Okay. So, but the important thing is understanding the kind of business that you are in, order quantity. Mr. Rotimi, what do you understand by economic order quantity? Mr. Rotimi, can you hear us? Mr. Rotimi, are you there? Okay. Any other person? Victor, please. Ogechi, are you there? See, what do you understand by economic order quantity as a technique in inventory management?
Can I speak?
Yes, please.
Okay. I think economic order quantity is that balanced state where the stock is not, your stock level is at balanced state where you are not overstocked or understocked.
Okay. A state of equality.
Exactly. Equilibrium, yeah, kind of.
Yes. Any other person?
Yes, I can say that the economic order quantity can be seen as the optimal order quantity, which meets the demand of that company, while the company also tries to minimize costs, the ordering, receiving, and holding of inventory. I don't know if that suffices.
Okay. Thank you. Ogechi, are you there? See, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm here, sir.
Okay. All right.
Yes. Okay. I think economic order quantity could be like maybe the ideal quantity of products for an organization to produce. That ideal, the exact amount of quantity of products meant to be produced, so that there's no under or maybe overproduction.
Overproduction. Okay. Any other person?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, ma'am.
So I would say that it is the point where your order gets to before you reorder. That's optimal level. Before the company can say, okay, let's reorder.
Say that again. I didn't get that.
It is that point in your inventory, in your stock, where the company can say, this is the minimal point where we have to reorder goods or products, so that we don't have excess, or or we don't go out of stock.
Okay. Thank you very much for all your summations. Economic quantity order or economic order quantity, as the case may be, is just for you to understand at what point should the stock, should we restock? Let me put it that way. At what point should we restock? Now, also, it is a point where demand and supply meet. You know exactly what the demand is and also what the supply will be. There must be an equilibrium. There must be a point where they meet. So I could say, I am supplying, there's an order to supply 1,000 units. What we have, the raw materials that will help us to meet this 1,000 units. The raw materials to meet this 1,000 units is about, let's say it can give us maybe about 500 bags. So at the point where we get the demand and the supply meet, we make what? A reorder, because we don't want to be out of stock and we don't also want to be overstocked. So that is the point of meeting an equilibrium level where order and supply meet, where an organization looks into what is available and says, if we allow this to go lower than this, it is detrimental to the organization. Hence, there is need to do what? To fill up. Don't empty the warehouse. We need to fill up. Now, when you are filling up, you also determine, like we said, first in, first out, you also determine what other material that is going to leave first before this other one is being used. So that is what EOQ is all about. So we are looking at inventory challenges. Are there actually challenges in inventory management? Are there actually challenges in inventory management? I'm asking a question. Are there challenges associated in inventory management?
Yes, there are.
Yes, sir.
There are.
Yes, there are.
Okay, give me two. Challenges.
Product loss
you think,
or shortage.
Sir? Okay. Challenges, yes. What else?
Capacity gap of the inventory manager.
Capacity gap of major challenge. You don't know the job, but you say you know it. Turn on the computer, but you say you want to work as an inventory manager. It's a challenge. Yes. Any other person?
Yes,
sir. Okay. Another challenge is lack of data visibility.
Thank you very much. Lack of data availability or visibility. There is no data to work with. Like I started by saying, some people will even try as much as possible to hoard data from you. so that your boss will see you as incompetent, but not knowing that you were denied access to data to work with. So it's one of the challenges. Yes.
There could be beverages.
There could be what?
Beverages, stealing of items.
Okay. Stealing of items. Yes.
Beverages.
It's one.
It's a changing demand.
It's one.
Okay.
Change in demand.
Yes, sir. We have.
Okay. Yes.
Shortages and excesses.
Shortages and excesses.
And excesses, yes. In
Yes,
terms of shortage, when there is
shortages.
late delivery, it can also be summed up to shortage.
Yes. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Mr. Ambrose.
Hello, sir.
Yes, we have insufficient order management. Is also one of the challenges.
What was that?
Insufficient order management. Where the
Insufficient
inventory
order
period-
management.
Yeah.
Yes, insufficient order management. Yeah.
Then also the other aspect is the space management at the warehouse is also quite challenging when it comes to inventory management.
Okay. The space availability is also a challenge. Somebody says technical know-how is also a major challenge. Technical know-how is also a challenge. Yes,
Natural disaster.
Natural disaster could be also a challenge. Natural disaster could be a challenge. Technical disaster too can be a challenge. Leadership disaster too can be a challenge. Yes.
So
You want
how
to say
about
something?
inaccurate forecasting?
Of course. When there's no accurate forecasting, you cannot have smooth operation. That is where it gives birth to overproduction or underproduction, where you produce in excess or you procure in excess. Why? Because there was nothing to fall back on. Okay. So this and many more are some of the challenges of inventory management. Okay. Managing stock out and overstocking, managing obsolete and slow moving inventory, things that have gone obsolete, but you are sure want to still be there because you don't want to embrace change. You don't want to embrace change. At the end of the day, it slows down the work. You are still using a exercise book to draw line, date, delivery, receive, signature, what else? Amount. At this modern age, you are still using higher education notebook to carry out your inventory. You are still living in Stone Age. You are still living in Stone Age. So these are things that, okay, what happens if there's maybe a fire outbreak, or not even fire outbreak, that is even too much. Somebody comes in and just carries the book and tears it because he doesn't want to be indicted. He doesn't want to account for what he collected. He just tear that piece where he was supposed to sign. How do you defend it? How? So managing obsolete things is also, then we talk about balancing cost and service. Balancing cost and service. Balancing the cost of holding inventory with the need to have inventory available to meet customer demand. The cost of the inventory is much. The service also included. how do you balance it that it is not choky? You don't put all, okay, for example, you say the cost of producing this one item with ordering cost, everything is about $2,000. Okay, for me to maximize profit, I'm going to put it at $2,500. Where is the balance? How do you justify the extra $500 that is there? So finding the right balance between these two factors can be difficult, as the cost of carrying inventory includes not only the cost of the inventory itself, but also the cost of storing, insuring, and financing it. So at the end of the day, if you are a person that is good at analysis, it is justifiable. But if you just say, okay, don't say, how much is that? How much did you spend? $2,000. Oh yeah, put 2,500. You don't even know if that 2,500 you are operating on a loss. You don't know. You just feel like, put it. Don't worry, just put 2,500. At the end of the day, you discover that you have been operating as a charitable organization, a non-profit organization. These are some of the challenges. Managing complex supply chains is a challenge. The other time we talk about simple supply chain and complex supply chain is a challenge. When you don't have one supplier that supplies the raw materials, you have different components, different suppliers. It could be a challenge because you have to track about 3 to 4 functional suppliers at the same time. It could be sickening to track 4 people at the same time to bring the product. Why? Because of the other components that is involved in this production. So it could also be what? A challenge. Adapting to changes in demand. Adapting to changes in demand. It could also be a challenge. It could be as a result of economic, it could be as a result of nature, it could be as a result of political, it could be as a result of just anything. How readily available are you to meet up with the demand? Something just happened that people are beginning to rush to you. We need this. We need this. We need this. We need this. How do you put your heart together, reach out to the suppliers, monitor them, evaluate, do this and this? Production is made, transportation is made, logistics, all of that. It is what? Challenging. Dealing with seasonality. Say, rainy season is here again. Dry season is here. Christmas is here. These people don't allow somebody to, okay, this is when they travel. You can call the supplier, will tell you, I went for my mother's birthday. I went for my sister's wedding. I went for seasonality. For businesses that sell products with significant seasonal fluctuation in demand, managing inventory level can be challenging. Accurately forecasting demand for this product and adjusting inventory levels accordingly is crucial to avoiding stock out for what? For overstocking. Seasonality. The fact that it is Christmas doesn't mean that you should go and order trailer loads of Christmas tree. My dear, you will return it, or you wait for next year Christmas again to sell. How many people are okay that they'll start buying Christmas tree of 38,000, 40,000, 50,000 when a bag of rice is 50, almost equivalent? Let the light wait. Let us eat first. But without proper forecast, just say, it's Christmas time. Let me order. In fact, Christmas lights everywhere. I'm ordering 2 trailer loads from China. At the end of the day, you are only able to sell 100,000 pieces, and about 1 million is still lying there. What have you done? You have tied down your resources. You have tied down your resources. China will not collect it back. So you have to wait until next year, December, before you sell it again. What if at the end of the day, there's cash availability and the price falls, that the Christmas tree that you were supposed to sell 50,000 is now being sold for maybe 5,000 naira? You have lost. You have lost. Your money is a waste. So this could be what? A challenge to an inventory manager. Can somebody give me an example of this seasonal, dealing with seasonality? Dealing with seasonality. Emmanuel, are you there? Ogechi, are you there?
Okay,
Mr.
I do.
Ambrose. Yes, please.
You remember
Proceed.
the example you gave in the previous class about the Nigerian flag? It's an example.
Yes.
Also,
Hello?
overstocking.
I didn't get that. Sarah, we can't hear you again.
Okay, no, I said you remember the Nigerian flag example we gave in the last class, where somebody must have bought a lot of flags for the Independence Day. Yes, and then at the end of the day, people were not so motivated this year to to buy the flags as they usually do. And
Who the flag help? Who the flag help? Who the flag help? With this current economic situation, you go and buy flag and be waving. Hungry will finish you. So yes, that is an example also. The Nigerian flag and all of that, it's seasonal. And at the end of the day, you end up giving it for promo. Buy one, get two free, just to get it out of your stock. Yes, Emmanuel, Obong, Albert.
Yes, thank you. An example of this seasonal commodities could be, can look at umbrellas. Umbrellas,
yes,
they're commonly marketable during rainy seasons. For example, here in Uganda, it is raining a lot at the moment, and someone would think of investing a lot in buying a lot of them, but then such a commodity would move less during, let's say, January or February, there when the rains disappear, because most people don't actually use it for the sun. Most people buy them for rain, basically. I think that's what I can say.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I think maybe after this class,
Okay.
we'll do collabo so that we're supplying umbrellas to Uganda. What about that? I am the first person that said it before Tosin will now say she's interested. I'm the first.
We shall sell the umbrellas. It's a good deal.
Okay. Glory. Marcus, you want to say something?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so an example of seasonality, I'm coming back down to the pharmaceutical business. So during the cold season, a lot of cold products, if you want to compare what happened in the previous year, whereby probably you sold a lot of let me say loratadine and all, and you say, okay, you'll come this year, you're trying to forecast for the that same product, so the severity of the disease might not be like the previous year. So in that case, you have to be very careful. So it can also be a challenge, when you're trying to make forecast for your product during the cold and also during the Harmattan season.
Okay, thank you very much. Glory, finally, you are welcome.
Thank you, sir.
I've been waiting for you all day.
Good morning, everybody. Sorry, I
You're
joined the
welcome.
class late and I've been able to get a few things. So I wanted to
Okay.
give an example of seasonality as a
Okay.
warehouse
As a
challenge.
challenge.
Yes, as a challenge. And my first example is during feasting seasons. For example, like Christmas and maybe Easter seasons, there are a lot of stocks that are being bought by different business people, hoping that they will buy. And if during that season they are not bought, excess stock is going to be left, which they will either auction in the coming months or they will keep.
Yes.
Yes, and the cost of keeping will also increase. Then my second example was about anti-malarials. If I take the example of here in Cameroon, we have seasons where the incidence of malaria is very high. So when they are buying products, they'll take into account, they'll consider those seasons, which is mostly the rainy seasons, because there are some regions that have four seasons and then some two seasons. So when they buy and the incidence that was projected, if the number of people or with the number of severe malaria cases, if it's not up to the projected number, there's going to be a lot of anti-malarials that end up expiring because they are not because they will not be used effectively. Yes. So that is those are the two examples that I wanted to share.
Okay. Thank you so much. You see, this is very important. This is very important. It's applicable to every business, no matter what you are operating, no matter the line of business. Like we said, the only antidote to this, the only remedy, the only solution is accurate forecasting. That's all. Nothing more and nothing less. Accurate forecasting. Now, when we talk about accuracy in forecasting, you may not be 100%. You cannot be 100%. That's just what it is. You cannot be 100% right. But accuracy here is talking about a pass mark. So if I'm able to predict up to 80%, 85% to 90%, that is accuracy. So it is a challenge. Just like we have mentioned, we take things for granted. Oh, I have customer base. I have 30,000 customers. Let me stock the warehouse. They will buy it. What have you considered? What other factors have you considered? Are you sensitive to the current situation of things in the country, in the world? Are you sensitive to that? Or you just believe they are going to buy? At the end of the day, two things is either you will lose your money or the product will just be a waste. They will be there, get expired, and your money is lost. So for us to move, okay, somebody said raincoat. Yes, seasonality. I've never seen anybody that wears raincoat during dry season. In fact, you can even carry umbrella during dry season, but you can never wear raincoat during dry season. This is a typical example of seasonal product. Okay, so let's move. We say tracking and managing inventory could be what? A challenge. Don't forget, we are still looking at challenges that inventory or businesses face, challenges that businesses face in an attempt to have a very productive, effective, and efficient inventory management system. You must encounter one or more of these challenges that we have mentioned. Tracking and managing inventory is one of them. When you don't believe in data management practices, when you don't believe in audit, how are you going to know what is available and what is not available? about last 2 years ago, I had opportunity of auditing for a company. This company has been in existence for the past 15 years. They don't have an accountant. The owner of the business is the accountant. He's the one that withdraws money, signatory to the account, himself and the wife. They have staff strength of over 80. Staff strength of over 80. 15 years. They've never done what is called audit. You go and ask them, please, can we have the bank statements? Nobody. He does not release anything to anybody. He says it is my company, it is my money. However I run it, it is my money. I now ask, sir, how will you know if you are making profits or not? He said, as far as every time money is coming into my account, I'm not lacking anything. I pay salaries as at when due. I don't think I'm running at a loss. I said, sir, it doesn't work out like this. You don't operate like this. Fine, you might be paying salaries. Money might be coming in. You might be withdrawing as will, but you may also be operating on a loss because you don't know the assets that you have, your current assets, your fixed assets, your current liabilities, stock at hand, stock cash in hand, at hand, in the bank. What you don't know what your own is, money is coming in. I said, okay, where do we start? What do you want? He said, at this point, I don't think I don't want to know what I have again so that I don't give myself heart attack. What if I've been operating on a loss for the past 7 years? What will I do? That was how it ended. So there are people that do not believe in data. They don't believe in audit. Audit is not to expose you. Audit is just to give you an independent examination of the true position of things within your establishment for you to know where to adjust and where to leverage on. If it means cutting costs, audit will tell you. So there are people like that do not believe in all of these things, but yet they want what result. So to an inventory manager, this could be a very serious challenge because there is no data to work with. So what are some of the best practices? We have 5 minutes more before we go on a 10 minutes break. What are some of the best practices as it is operated in other parts of the world? We are not working as local inventory managers. We are working as global inventory managers. So whatever is applicable out there is what we are expected to use. Then we say, use a cloud-based inventory management system. A cloud-based management system, inventory. What will it do? It can help you to track your inventory level in real time, set up order points, and generate reports. At a glance, it's just bam, 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 everything comes up. What order do we have? When was it received? When did we give out? What is left? At a glance. Why? Because of what? You are using cloud-based inventory system. It's just like having your information in your cloud, iCloud. Even if you lose your phone, you can still recover your data in your iCloud. At a glance, on a go, you get it sorted. You don't need to ask somebody, Please, did you help me to see that document? Did you get that file? Did you see I sent? Did you? Nothing. It is what seated there in your iCloud. This is what global inventory managers use. Then we talk about keep accurate stock records. Keep what? Accurate stock record. This, of course, cannot be overemphasized. The importance of ensuring that the right amount of inventory on hand at all times is what is kept. There's a record. Don't expend materials or product based on I know him. Tosin, please, can I have 500 units? Size, because it's you, or you go and take it. Because it's me. You so much trust me that I cannot use it against you. That I can't say it was only 50 that you gave me and turn the other one on your head. Forget friendship, forget relationship, forget sentiment. The right thing must be what must be done. Proper record. Establish coefficient purchasing procedure. This includes negotiating with suppliers, setting up bulk discounts, and using just-in-time inventory management. Based on the order that, okay, supply, based on our agreement, this is the number of materials that I want at this point in time, based on what the demand for that period. Split inventory into different categories. This will help you to better track your inventory levels and identify items that are moving slowly or quickly. Split it into different categories. You don't need to bulk everything. I can decide to say, okay, David, you are in charge of this. Marcus, you are in charge of what goes out. Tosin, you are in charge of what comes in. Ogechi, you are in charge of the documentation. You are in charge of storage of the information in the cloud, so that by the time Tosin will say, hey, I gave him 300 and Ogechi recorded 250. There's no how that David will impute 350 in the iCloud. It will not work. It will call forward for everybody to come to the round table and do what? Sort things out. So you have to split inventory into different categories. Who is doing what? Who is responsible for what? In order to get your result. Develop active relationship with your suppliers. This is very important. There must be an active, healthy relationship. Okay, this will help you ensure that you have a reliable source of inventory and that you are able to get the products you need when you need them. If you are owing me and then you are calling, hey, please, sir, please, can we have I say, hello, network breaking, hello, I end the call. Why? You are owing me. I have pleaded with you. It wants to turn to a fight, and yet you are coming for another supply. I will not. But if we maintain a very cordial relationship, I can do that at will. Oh, you need it? Okay, no problem. When is the payment going to be made? Okay, it is supplied. Why? Because there is an active. You don't only need me because you need product, you need my service, you need my resources. No, sometimes you just sit at your convenience. Hello, sir, I just wanted to say hi. How is the business going? How's the family? How is it? That is an active relationship. Christmas period is coming. Hamper of 25,000 is not a crime. For maintaining this activeness for the past 1 year, it's not a crime. Active, not inactive. Active relationship must be there. Then set inventory goals. What is our goal? What are the goals that we want to achieve? We focus on the goals. All effort is put in towards what? Achieving those goals. Monitor your inventory levels regularly. I trust Marcus. There's nothing No. I don't need to look into the inventory records. I trust her. She's a woman of God. She's a woman of God. I trust her. Ah, when it will happen, you ask yourself, was this person truly a woman of God? We are not saying that she can run away with the product or she will scam me. I'm not saying she will scam me. I'm not saying she will steal from the materials. But at the same time, do not throw caution to the wind. There should be what? Constant, regular monitoring of the inventory level. What if she decides to strike a deal with another person outside? And when she sees me, good morning, sir. How is the family, sir? In fact, sir, you are the best manager. In fact, sir, hey, sir, can I buy you food? Hey, sir, do you need anything? I say, man, I've never seen a very hardworking, dedicated, committed staff like Tosin. In fact, she has the interest of the organization at heart. At the end of the day, when auditors come, you will not say, in fact, let me not say it. So monitor regularly your what? Inventory. Okay. So any question, please? Any question, any contribution before we go on a 10-minute break and come back? Any question? Any contribution? Yes. Glory, you want to say something?
Yes, I just wanted to give a contribution about accurate stock keeping. It may not only be the accurate stock keeping, but any document that has to be, that is involved in the inventory management. They are supposed to keep them accurately. I'm sharing this from my experience when I just started work, and I had to be managing pediatric HIV medicines. At that time, the country was not buying it, but an organization was supporting to buy. And at some point, there was the institution was not respecting FIFO, and they had to be delivering the products at anyhow. Then I noticed at some point that the good ones, the ones that had a longer shelf life, were seated. Were going out, and then the one that had a shorter shelf life, they were seated in the warehouse. I had to write a mail. I wrote a mail to the country director, and then I wrote the mail to the director of the institution that this is what I've observed and they need to adjust it. And the product that was in the warehouse had just 4 to 5 months to expire. Those are very expensive products. They never took any action. So every week when I was going there, I would take a snapshot of the stock card, and then I would get the physical stock. And the product at some point when it was like 2 months left, I went there. Then I will also talk about this relationship, because I had a good relationship with the warehouse people and then with some of the directors there. I had to take the invoice and then get it to them, say this invoice, this is the product, the batch number of the product that they are serving, which is the one that is going to expire right in 2015, but this one which is in the store, which is expiring in 2 months, we need to get them out. They never did anything. So I corrected it. I said, as a warehouse, we have, when you verify what is going out, as long as you are the one putting it in the truck, you need to be sure that is what is on your paper. You cannot be putting something else in the truck, and then what is on the delivery note is different. So we had to remove all of that stock and then serve to a region that would consume all. And that passed. Like 1 year after, a letter came to us that about $12 million worth of medicines, they have expired. So I had to sit in a meeting, my first time of facing the minister of a country. I had to sit and explain. I brought all the photocopies of the stock cards, of the invoices, of those things that I had been doing, but people were not taking action. And I said, actually, this stock we are talking about is no longer here. It has been consumed since by the patients. And what is available in store is what is good. And the plan was that they intended, because at the time, since ARVs were scarce, they intended to sell it, I think. So they had to take me, say, do you know the position of these drugs where they are? I said, yes. So we went to the national warehouse. I said, okay, these are the drugs. And then they confirmed it. So had it been that information, I was not keeping the stock, I was not keeping the emails, all of that, then yes, then it should have been a serious issue. So it's just to emphasize the fact that record keeping is very important. And then when they keep accurate records, it helps us also to track the consumption. Because when we have accurate data on consumptions, it can be able to solve some of the inventory management issues of overstock or understock. Sometimes we depend only on maybe morbidity data or on population data and not actually on the real consumption of the product.
Consumption, yes.
Yes. So that is the contribution that I wanted to bring.
Wow, thank you very much. That's from the mouth of a professional in active duty. Okay, Teso, your hand is up. Kwambe, your hand is up. Kwembe, are you there? Okay, so any other contribution from any other person? Any other contribution? Any other contribution? In the absence of none.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
please.
Okay.
Yes, please. Ogechi.
Oh no, it's Marcus.
Okay, Marcus. Yes.
Yes. Okay, so in all that we've said in this discussion on inventory management, so I know we've talked about the business perspective, saving cost and all customer satisfaction. So, and again, I want to just quickly drift us to the place of humanitarian and public health. So, I want to emphasize on the place of stakeholders engagement in inventory management, because it's a whole lot of a different perspective. I will cite an example just to justify my statement. Okay, so there was a time in country when we had some batches of anti-malaria medications that were close to expiry, and as a supply chain personnel, you are shadowed with the responsibility of preventing expiry. It's not even something that should be hard. That in a malaria endemic country, you have anti-malaria that is going to be expiring in the public health sector. It's not something that is supposed to be hard. But because of so many instances that were beyond, it's a multi-sectorial kind of sector. You have so many people involved, so many stakeholders involved, protocols, bureaucracy. So we found ourselves in this scenario of having anti-malaria that is going to expire. So a lot of engagement. We contacted a lot of a lot of ministries, stakeholders, hospitals. So there are a lot of protocols. Before you even say you want to donate a drug to an hospital, you have to go through so many, and all of these processes will eventually lead to the drug expiry, especially when the remaining shelf life of that drug is not even much. You don't have much time on your hand. And it's something that you can easily enter an hospital without all these protocols. Just distribute, they will appreciate it. So the place of stakeholders engagement, in fast tracking some of this process just to prevent expiry of the product is also one thing. Again, another example is the place of HIV medications. We have some pediatric regimen that at a time was everyone was using and all. But it got to a time that these medications changed, right? So because for you to move from a particular medication to another, there are so many things that goes on, so many meetings. In fact, when you are building the assumption, you consider so many assumption building, doing forecasting now. You consider so many doctors, so many ministries and all, just to come and bring their experience. So what am I trying to say? If in all of these things, right? If probably a new product is going to be coming in, say 2024 January, and yes, we still have some medications on ground. Yeah, in the course of your training, you made mention of slow moving products and all. So the place of stakeholders engagement to doing the assumption building, because when you want to build the assumption to forecast for the product that you're going to be buying in the coming year, fine, you are phasing out a product, but here you are bringing in another one. That one that you are phasing out, you cannot say completely you are not buying anything. So the place of stakeholders engagement, coordinating this set of various stakeholders too is very, very important. And yeah, in my house, or a doctor saying, oh, due to his experience, he can fully say that, oh, you should go for 20%, we should procure 20% of this phasing out product. But as the inventory manager, based on your experiences in the past about products that phased out and no, so you'll be able to come and coordinate all of these discussions, because whatever verdict you are going to be bringing out of that assumption building is what is going to inform your forecast. So you should be able to lead them. That skill again of stakeholders engagement is very, very crucial in ensuring that you guys arrive at a forecast that is even if not 100% accurate, but at least such that will prevent wastages.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's very informative. Engaging your stakeholders first has to do with the kind of relationship that you are keeping with them. You see, I believe that if you have a cordial relationship, very active one with your suppliers or stakeholders, you are talking about this the medications now. Apart from the fact that it is in your place to also or always monitor and know which drugs is going to expire when. It is also on the part of your stakeholders, if you're having, or suppliers, if you're having an active relationship with them, for updates, frequent updates. It might be like maybe every quarter or every half of the year, you are prompted a reminder. There's a kind of system that prompts you. See, it might sound so weird or something, but if you have a functional inventory system on ground and you deploy some of the best practices as we have, you may not even need somebody to remind you that this product is going to expire in 2026. There's a way that the product, all of them can be programmed, that a reminder is given every quarter of the year. A reminder is given every half of the year. A reminder is given every year, without necessarily troubling your supplier to, please, when did you say it's going to expire? You can have all of that imputed. You can have all of that document at your disposal, that every time you are on the know as to the true position of that product. It's not just only in pharmaceutical. It might be anywhere. It might be any kind of product, provided it has expiry date, manufacturing date, and expiry date. You are supposed to impute them and have a reminder set, maybe about 2 to 3 people within that organization. Okay? So that you are able to keep track. When you do things like this, It gives your stakeholders the confidence that you know exactly what you are doing. You are also trying to tell the management that you want to minimize waste. That efficiency is the thing you are dealing with here. So, but when people begin to do things just the way they want to, maybe for personal interest or bringing in nonchalant attitude and all of that, at the end of the day, it affects the whole system. And you ask yourself, what if this business was your own business and you are the inventory manager? Is this how you would have run the business? If you can answer yourself without sentiment, realistically, that if it was my business, I'll still run it with nonchalant attitude like this. If the business want to fall, it fall. If you don't want to fall, it continue. If you want to give yourself the honest truth, if it's my business, I will not run it this way. I will give it all the necessary attention that it requires. Then, why don't you replicate that into some other person's business? That is where your strength lies. That is where your usefulness lies. And that is where you can crave a niche for yourself that not only now, people will always make reference of your availability in that organization as a change agent. That is why we are employed to do the job. Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate. Any other person? Any other person? Any other person? Okay. So, like I stated, the class ends at 2, and this is 17 minutes past 12. Please, what time? Just put it on the comments box. What time should we reconvene? What time should we reconvene, please? How many minutes break should we take? I want a unanimous agreement. I want a collective agreement, please. Just type it on the comment section. I will see it now. 10 minutes, okay? Sarah says 10 minutes. T says 10 minutes. Any other person? 10 minutes. What happened now? 10 minutes is cool. 8 minutes. Glory, what's the difference between 8 minutes and 10? Okay, we'll be back at 12:30 max. Okay, 12:30 max. That is approximately 10 minutes. Okay, so majority carries the vote. We'll come back at exactly 12:30. Thank you very much, and I meet you on the other side of the show. Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Victor. That was Mr. Friday. That was wonderful. That was wonderful. Thank you, class, for your comments, your insight. Please, let's convene 30 minutes. That is 12:30. We'll be back. Thank you. See you by then.
Okay, see you shortly.
See you shortly by 12:30.
Let's proceed. This takes us till 2 p.m. by God's grace. So, in addition to what we discussed about, talking about some of the challenges and all of that, we're now saying that there are some tips that can help us to effectively manage our inventory. Number one is use a barcode scanner or other inventory tracking system. Use a barcode scanner or other inventory tracking system. Now, like what I said before we went on break, that if we have a very good active inventory management system on ground, at a glance, we'll be able to know at what point a particular product is overstaying its welcome in the warehouse, the expiry date, and what have you. With this barcode scanner, you could just impute it. And by the time you bring one one product from the shelf and you're able to scan through, it gives you a comprehensive information about that product. Then you know, okay, this is it. So you just go to the shelf, bring one, scan it through. It gives you the dates that it was manufactured. It gives you other information such as the people that it's supposed to be used for. It gives you the expiry date and what have you. The scanning tracking system helps you to do this. We say this will help you to quickly and accurately count your inventory. By the time there's a scanner and a barcode that is being utilized, a tracker that is being utilized, you'll be able to know what product is left quickly, accurately. It gives you the summation of what you have left. Then we say set up a system for tracking inventory movement. Of course, set up a system for tracking inventory movement. This will help you to identify items that are moving slowly or quickly and make adjustments to your company or your inventory levels accordingly. Which is moving faster? Why is it moving? Which one should even move faster? Should it be this? Should it be this? Then we say rotate your inventory regularly. Dispose of obsolete inventory promptly. This will help you avoid carrying unnecessary costs. Train your employees on inventory management procedures. This will help to ensure that everyone in the organization is aware of their responsibilities and that inventory is managed consistently. Everybody should be what? Should be trained. They should know why inventory management is important in the organization. Like we say in business, you don't work based on assumption. Assumption kills. You don't work based on sentiment. It destroys. Let everybody know. You can decide to pick one persons from each department and be trained on inventory management. The fact that they are trained on inventory management doesn't mean that they are coming to take over my job as the inventory manager. No. Previously, we said you need to dissect, you need to divide your inventory management processes. Different people handling different things. This is it. Once they are trained, they know what responsibilities is on them. They know what the organization is expecting from them. Okay? So the technologies in inventory management, we have the warehouse management software, the automated guided vehicles, automated picking tools. We have the RFID technology, blockchain, the barcode, the AI machine learning, and all of that. Why do we major on some of these technologies? It's because, like we often say, that the world has gone global. The world has gone digital. Technology is the order of the day. To be able to operate a seamless inventory management system, you need to invest in what? In technology. The barcode and the RFID, they are employed for items identification. They are what? They are employed for what? Item identification and tracking. Barcodes are printed labels with unique codes that can be scanned using barcode scanner. RFID tags use radio frequency signals to transmit data, allowing for automated scanning without line of sight requirement. Both technologies enable quick and accurate inventory tracking and data capture. when you deploy this, it helps you to have a track record of what product you have, what is left, where this particular product is, what line is it located, what is the lifespan, what are the formulations of this product, what are the requirements, specifications of this product. It gives you accurate information. We talk about inventory management software. Management software provides a centralized system to track and manage inventory-related activities. It typically includes features like inventory tracking, demand forecasting, order management reporting, and integration with other systems like point for sale or enterprise resource planning. This software solution helps to automate processes, provide real-time visibility, and optimize inventory level. The software that tells you what product was highly demanded for at what point in time, what product was less demanded of and the time. The inventory system that tells you every other things that must be integrated into the inventory system. At a glance, we are able to know. The thing is, like we said, it depends on the nature of your business. Okay, it depends on the nature of your business. Don't get me misquoted. Every business is supposed to have some of these technologies, but some of these technologies are too expensive for the small scale businesses to even have. But yet, there are other less expensive softwares that one can use that is peculiar to your own kind of business, peculiar to your own level of affordability. That others are using millions of naira, you can decide to use thousands. As the business grows, you are also growing in technology. As the business expands, you are also expanding in technology. Before you know it, you are almost where other people are. WMS software is specifically designed to manage warehouse operations, including inventory control, order fulfillment, and labor management. It facilitates tasks such as inventory receiving, put away, picking, packing, and shipping, improving warehouse efficiency and accuracy. This is also one of the technologies. Then we talk about enterprise resource planning, including inventory management, finance, sales, and purchasing. They provide a centralized database and streamlined processes across departments, allowing for better inventory planning, coordination, and decision-making. The enterprise resource planning, ERP, helps the inventory manager to streamline the processes across every department. What is each department doing that will add to the inventory system? Have they been able to optimize their potential in terms of effective utilization of what is given to them? We are able to streamline who does best, who is doing better. Can we let go of this department and focus on this? Can we invest in this department and maybe invest less in this other department? Why? Because of the corresponding results that we are getting. I cannot invest millions in your department when the result I'm getting is in 50,000. No, it's a waste. But I'd rather invest in the other department that is giving me more results. I can only encourage you to do better, but I cannot invest heavily. So we begin to streamline some processes Okay, we begin to gather some database. Each department must be able to give us a comprehensive analyzed data that will help us in future analysis, future decision making. Then we talk about cloud computing. We've mentioned that before. The cloud computing, it provides and enables data synchronization across multiple locations, facilitating collaboration and providing a flexible and co-effective solution. All of your data can be put in one place, that even if your system crashes, you still can have access to the data. There's nothing like, hey, my system corrupt. You will still get back your data, provided there's a system like this, there's technology adopted by your company. Then Internet of Things. Having a smooth internet that will aid communication, that will aid sharing of information, sharing of data, and what have you. So there must be a system where there's a smooth operation of the internet. The IT system of the organization must work optimally. Okay, I can't afford to share data with you when I'm not sure of the privacy of such data, when I'm not sure of who is controlling the data, when I'm not sure of who gives approval, who has access to the data. I can't share some information because of how peculiar they are, how sensitive they are. So the internet enabling data collection and communication in inventory management, the device such as sensor and smart shelves can monitor inventory levels, temperature, humidity, and other environmental conditions. This real-time data helps in demand forecasting and other things. Then your mobile device and mobile apps, they also perform their own peculiar responsibilities and duties. Then you talk about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence also helps, gives insight to decision making. They are used for demand forecasting, predictive analytics, optimizing reorder points, and identifying trends or anomalies in inventory pattern. AI is the order of day now, so we must invest in it heavily. We talk about robotic and automation. One will ask, why would a warehouse be having all of these softwares? Why should inventory management have all of these softwares? It is important. If you don't want to have headache, if you want to have a stress-free, seamless operations, you need to do what? Adopt, train, implement, evaluate, and monitor all of this, and then you get your desired result. Okay, so what are the 5 steps in inventory management process? What are the 5 steps? We say receive and inspect products. Can somebody throw more light to this? Receive and inspect products in line with inventory management process. Can somebody throw more light to this, please?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead, sir.
Okay. So after ordering the quantity of products that you need, and the supplier adhered to the lead time for the supply, when you are receiving the products, you need to inspect them. And inspection includes things about quantity and quality. For the quantity, you will need to confirm that the quantity you ordered are what arrived your warehouse. And then for the quality, you need to check and inspect different things like the specification of the product, for example, for medical product, you need that NAFDAC number here in Nigeria. You need the expiry date, the manufacturing date, and so on and so forth. So these are meant to make sure that you are receiving the right quantity of goods and at the right quality. Over.
Okay, thank you. Any other person? Gloria, Oluchi, where are you? C, where are you? David, where are you? Marcus, yes, you can go on, sir.
So you receive and inspect products. The process is just simple. Once the item lands the warehouse from either from being imported or from the factory, you receive it in the warehouse based on the documents, bringing them in. You check for correctness, accuracy in the quantity being supplied, and what you are seeing physically. Then before you do your inspect the product and see.
Okay.
Storage. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I
Okay.
wanted
Hello.
to add.
Okay, Gloria.
Yes,
Yes,
I want to
Glory.
add that receiving also has to do with preparing the space. It means that you anticipate whatever you have to receive. If the order is already confirmed and the shipment is already confirmed, then you want to make sure that the space that is available in the store is ready. And then another thing is you want to prepare all the documents that are relevant for the reception to be ready as well. And the inspection has to be a physical inspection in terms of the quantities, looking at the quantities, and then also an observation looking at the quality, all of the quality of the product that has been delivered. And then if there are any issues within the reception, that one is noted. And I think reception ends with recording whatever you have received in the system and in your stock management documents.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. See, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I
No,
wanted.
I wanted to, but I think all points covered. It's basically making sure that all products you get arrives the right quantity, the right product itself is delivered, and then maybe you check for expiry dates, serial numbers, serial codes. That's just it basically, I think.
I want to add
Okay.
that. I want to add that if it's a product that requires cold chain, the temperature is actually very important. Assuming you are bringing in vaccines, you should ensure that the temperature required for those vaccines was maintained, or insulin, or perishables, depending on what you are expecting, so that you maintain the temperature to prevent the product from degenerating.
Thank you. You see, one of the challenges that we talked about the other time has to do with ensuring that we have the right quality, checking of materials and all of that. And I now begin to wonder, an order is placed. You have 14, is it a 14 ton of trailer load of product? And in between, you discover that out of, let's say, 1 million products, 1 million items that was brought in, about 300 is mixed. There's foul play. And you may not even as, how will I put it? You may not even as being attentive or sensitive because you so much trust in this supplier, like nothing is going to happen. The first 100, everything is fine. You are ticking it, ticking first 100, ticking the next thing where we have ascertained that all is well, and you just move into the warehouse and install. Regrettably, the first 100 has been bought, and you now discover that the next batch of 250 is of defect or does not comply to specification. How will you handle this? If you are in that case, in that scenario, as an inventory manager, and this kind of a thing happens within the organization that you are working, how will you handle this? Does somebody understand my question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, we do.
Yes. How will you handle this?
I think each badge should be tested by quality control to be sure that
And
it's the same consistency.
you think you really have that time? Something that can take you maybe about 3 days to cross-check one after another?
No. You don't have to do all of them. Like you can take, you said there are different containers, right?
One container, the same items, but in between, there are defects. You have about 300 that is not okay. The first one that is presented at the front, everything is in perfect condition. Towards the end of the batch, everything is okay, but the ones in between, or it is scattered, you won't even know which of the batch is not complying with standard. How will you manage that? And what will be your reaction?
That one is actually a hello?
Yeah, with you.
Yes, it's actually a difficult one, but I think that with the reception is not supposed to be done in a haste. So you can sample from each batch. Maybe if it is a whole container, you want to sample from and look at the batches, sample or each batch that is in the container. You sample some from the front, from the middle.
Every 100.
Yes, then you check. But because once it is already received and signed and you approve that everything that you have received is correct, to come back again to say that some that had defects is a hard procedure to follow. It might need that maybe another client has the same complaint, or maybe the supplier receives complaints from different other clients before they can be able to maybe consider reviewing your stock, or maybe they have it also in their stock, then they can consider looking. But once you have already approved and accepted that what you are receiving is actually what you are seeing, sometimes it is challenging to maybe make a request to return the product. So I think it is always good to take time during the reception, sample from every batch.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other person? Any other person? Okay. The reason why I asked that question, it is not out of place. It is something that happens most often. There is a real life scenario. It happens. And sometimes it is a deliberate act from the supplier to test your efficiency, your effectiveness, your level of professionalism, how detailed you are. They also do it for selfish interest, to see that, let's see if they are going to overlook. Let's just test them. So what we are trying to say here is, when at the point of receiving and inspecting, it should be thorough and detailed inspection. Thorough and detailed inspection. Because once you append your signature to the document, delivery document, it shows the authenticity, the completeness, the exactness of the product. They don't have any case to answer. Even if you take it up, they don't have any case. Did you see the defect? Did you spot anything? No. At the point of checking, did you notice anything? No, we didn't notice. Hence, you signed. So how come that we left and you are saying that a couple of items are not, no, you want to play a fast one on us. So it must be detailed, comprehensive, detailed reception, inspection must be carried out. Otherwise, you might just be putting yourself in unnecessary issues. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So,
Mr. Zakaria.
yes, what you said is actually apt because I have a on-hand experience on this. In the
Good.
organization I work, last year we happened to be implementing some projects in Nigeria, I think in about 5 states. So we ordered for a particular product. It's a medicinal product that children are supposed to use. It's a food supplement. So this guy supplied the product in the different states, but in some of the states, just like you said, so what he did was that he mixed expired and short-dated products in some of these cartons and supplied to some of these states. But in some of these states, the personnel there were very meticulous, so they checked and they flagged it. However, in one of the states, he just did the right thing, which is the sampling, right? He did the sampling, sampled some cartons, and he appended his signature and said these products are okay. So he deployed those products to the communities where they are supposed to be used. On using those products at the communities, some people raised questions and said, these products, they are like short-dated and some have been expired. So what happened? So we now have to make a recall of those products and contact the supplier. So apparently, when I was having a conversation with the supplier, it's like he knew what he did, so he was not so remorseful. And but we had already, in that particular stage, we had already appended our signature that products are okay and so on. So what saved us then was the meticulousness. Hello, who is speaking?
Mr. Emmanuel, please can you mute your mic?
So what saved us was the meticulousness of our personnel in some of the states that actually flagged it. And this was the a condition maybe to bring back what they have lost. So actually, you said we have to be very, very detailed in terms of this particular step, receiving an inspection of products. Over.
Wow. Thank you for that live sharing experience. Ogechi, your hand is up. Ogechi, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. My hand is not up.
Your hand is up.
It was the former.
Maybe you lower it now because I've been seeing it up.
I'm telling you.
Up.
Okay, the hand has been there since. It's all right. Okay, so that's very important. Once you've done all your detailed reception and what have you, the next thing is to sort it and then stock the product. Stocking the product or sorting tells you, okay, for example, the container came we have the baby session, we have the female, we have the male session. We are able to sort it categorically. It could be in an alphabetical order, okay, just for simplicity's sake. And then we can stock it in order for us to know exactly where each item, based on what what level they stand, wherever there is, then we find it at that at the shelf. So we accept customer orders. We accept customer order, having known that we have the material on ground. The next thing is to accept customer order. Sometimes it is right for you to tell your customer when a product is not available that it is not available, so that you don't begin to get yourself into unnecessary pressure and then doing what you are not supposed to do. Let there be availability of product before you can tell them that it is available. We talk about fulfill package and ship order. Okay. Once a customer has placed an order, of course, the next thing is to accurately and expediently fulfill the package and ship the order. Okay. So this, then we talk about reorder new stock. Reorder new stock. Reordering of new stock is as a result of a fallout of not having, stocks available. It is important that you do not run out of stock completely. That's where we had the economic order quantity. Do not run out of stock completely, because as much as we are open for demand, the flexibility aspect of it means that demand can come in at any given time. At any given time. That doesn't give you the impetus also then the inventory management requires a number of steps that work together to guarantee successful and efficient inventory management. We have talked about this. We have talked about this: inventory tracking, reorder and restocking, quality control, storage of inventory. You must have a facility to be able to store inventory, to be able to store your products, your goods. You must have total control in order to know the exactness of the product, the location of the product, what it is used for, what is left, what is gone out, and all of that. Then we say that, in conclusion, that inventory management plays a vital role in the success of any business, no matter the size of the business, no matter the nature of the business. It is important to take inventory, even in the home where you live, in your own house. Sometimes you take inventory, especially for the male. We do not really have things to take inventory like that, because it's just maybe 2 black trousers, 2 black shoes, how many shirts, finished. But for the female, they take inventory. Their own is like every 3 months, because they grow out of clothes, they order, they reorder, and they restock. So at every point in time, you will see the female, the wife or the daughter, doing what? Inventory management in the house. Saying, I wore this clothes last 6 months ago. Let me see. I don't like the color again. It's not trending. Put it aside. And there's one that I just saw on Instagram. It's very nice. What is he doing? What is she doing? Restocking. But our own, as men, once you just have 2 black trousers, maybe 1 brown, 2 black shoes, You are good to go. Do I have a witness in the house? Mr. Marcus, are we together?
Mrs. Marcos, please.
Okay,
It's
Mrs.
Mrs.
Marcos,
Marcos.
sorry.
No,
Mrs. Marcos, are we together?
we are fine. Yes.
Uh-huh. David, are we together? At least as a man, you understand what I'm saying. Mr. Raymond, where are you? Mr. Victor, are we together?
We are together.
Yeah. So
But I have a
it is
question.
important. Okay, please go ahead.
Yes, I want to be clarified on the difference between inventory control and inventory management.
Inventory control and inventory management. See, answer that question. See, I'm waiting for you. Victor, I'm waiting for you.
Okay. So, are you getting me?
Yes, please go ahead.
So when you talk
She said
about
she needs
event,
clarification. Yes,
okay.
inventory
So
control, inventory management.
when you talk about inventory management, you talk about the whole, all the different parts that pertains to inventory. Control is one of them. You control your inventory. Then there's the order, there's the forecasting. So management is the full package of what inventory, the sustenance of inventory is all about. So control is a subset of the management of it. If you don't control your inventory, you go out of stock. And the essence of inventory is not to go out of stock, but to be within your demand range. Over.
All right.
So
Thank
does
you.
it then
See,
mean that is the same thing as stock taking?
No, stock taking is
no.
the use to control your inventory. Stock taking is a tool which you use to control your inventory.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you very much, Victor. See, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. You want to add to what Victor has said?
Can you hear me?
Please speak. Speak. Seems your network is bad. We can't hear you. Okay. So
Yeah.
let me start from the last one. Hello.
Yes, this is Ambrose. Eh?
Okay, Ambrose. You want to say
Yeah,
something?
I was just saying that for inventory management, this deal with focusing and ordering of stock. Then when it comes to inventory controls, this is part of the inventory management, but the deal with the handling of stocks on hand. Eh? How do you, when you have already a commodity available, how do you regulate it, like issuing it out or requisitioning? That is now what for me, I perceive to be the inventory controls. Stock need to be there. How do you regulate its movement? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sir,
So,
can I add a sentence?
okay, please go ahead.
Yes, so I want to say that inventory control is just a subset of inventory management.
Okay, thank you. So, just to summarize what they've all said, we are all in the same frequency. We are talking about inventory management, holistic, comprehensive, the total package of inventory. Everything that you need for inventory to work smoothly and produce the required results. That talks about the planning, forecasting, talks about some of the challenges, some of the types, and what have you. You need to understand that for inventory to be accepted, the managerial aspect of it that talks about planning, controlling, okay, monitoring, evaluation, supervising, and what have you, must be brought to book or to limelight. When you talk about the control aspect of it, the control aspect of it is just an element of inventory management, a subset, an aspect of, so that now as a manager, you've deployed all the managerial skills, technical know-how, knowledge that you have to procuring materials, to getting your inventory. The question is, how then can you control the inventory? Controlling the inventory simply talks about having a grasp, a total knowledge of what you have at your disposal. For example, who authorizes what? Why should I give you this quality or this quantity other than this quantity? Why should you come at this point in time to request for this when it should be this? Why did this go out instead of this? Why and why and why? That is total control, because you don't want a fallout of the inventory. You don't want anything to happen to the product, to the material. So you want to put an eye on the product to ensure that what purpose it was meant for is actually actualized. And then you talk about stock taking. Stock taking is a step to what is a step that you are using in order to have a total control. Because if you do not take stock, you will not know what has gone out and what has come in. You will not know what is remaining and what you should get. So that stock taking is a measure to obtaining or keeping control of the inventory. So that is it, man. So we say that effective inventory management helps business lower cost, boost efficiency, enhance customer satisfaction, and gain a competitive edge in the market space or in the marketplace. This is what we are looking at: inventory management. Then we shall be looking at supplier relationship management. Supplier relationship management. Is it necessary to build a strong relationship with your supplier? If your answer is yes, why yes? Mr. Zakaria, Ambrose?
Yes, it is necessary to build a strong relationship with your supplier, because there are a lot of advantages when you do that. One of which is you stand to get the best deal if you build a strong relationship in terms of costs, in terms of having, let's say, a database of who supplies what to you, and so on and so forth. These are things I can remember. I will add more if I
All right, sir.
think
Thank
of
you.
them.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Victor.
Yes, it's good to have a good rapport with your suppliers in case of credit facilities too.
Credit facilities. That is very, very important. Yes, T, are you there? Raymond, Akinde, Sarah,
This is
Esther.
Victor.
Yes, I'm
Okay,
here.
Victor.
I think it's
Okay.
good to have a good relationship with your supplier. So when there's a good relationship, you're sure that they will not supply you inferior quality of goods, and you're also sure that when you need your goods, they will supply you at the time when you need it to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
This is good.
okay.
So yeah, it's good to have a good supplier relationship management. One, just for this, for you to get quality products or services when needed, and for other reasons, so like the credit facility and all that. Over.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Ambrose.
It is good to have a supplier relationship. One, when it comes to negotiation, it's really very key that you realize that you understand, you and your supplier, you understand, and you negotiate, you can get a commodity or a product at relatively a lower cost, which is really very key. And also the other aspect is the when it comes to improving the efficiency, you realize that when you have a better relationship with your supplier, communication will become one of the most important things, which is really very key for an organization. When you place in your an order, maybe when you have an issue, you're able to discuss with what? You're able to discuss with your supplier, which is really what? Which is really very key. And also, when you're trying to outsource, try to find out maybe the product is not available with your supplier. As well, your supplier would be in position to communicate back to you and say, as of now, your order we have received, but this commodity is not available. It can again still link you out to outsource it to from another supplier. So building that relationship for me, I find is really very key in the area of supply chain or as we run our organization or a company. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Somebody said here, a good relationship with your supplier will reduce availability problem, delays, and quality issues. We are all correct. I don't see any. Yeah.
I want to add one. I've just remembered, very important. You know, in the supply chain system, there are a lot of uncertainties, like seasonal changes and so on and so forth. So one of the importance of supply relationship management is to reduce, let's say, price fluctuations, you know, and then so that you can build trust between you and your supplier. So once you have a relationship with the supplier, you can achieve much by, you know, reducing the cost. I've said this cost earlier, but this time I'm taking it in another context, which has to do with fluctuations in prices. For example, in Nigeria and many other countries, there has been a fluctuation which leads to the rise and fall of their currencies against the naira. So if you have ordered something, let's say a year ago from a supplier, and you had agreed that that supplier is going to supply you that in a certain price, the supplier seldom comes over, hardly comes again and tells you the price has changed. Even if there's going to be any price, they will not be as, you know, as difficult as if you are going to the market now.
For the
So that's
first
what I
time,
want to
yeah.
add. Yes, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. We have all spoken well. It's very important that we maintain a very healthy, smooth, seamless, active relationship with suppliers. There's no company that involves any suppliers and they are enemies. There's no company that does that. There's no organization that will contract or contact their enemy to be their supplier. No. The reason for that is for you to have a healthy relationship with your supplier, it is intentional, or rather, it should be intentional. It should be intentional. And this relationship is not only because of what you stand to gain as an organization, as a company. No, it's supposed to be a symbiotic kind of relationship, not a parasitic kind of relationship. Okay? That the only time I need to call my supplier is when I need something. is only no. What also is your supplier standing to gain from you for doing business with you? That also must be inculcated into the business so that it is a win-win thing. You win, your supplier also wins. That is the reason for what supplier relationship management. Okay, we say it's a critical function in many organizations because good relationship with vendors can lead to better prices, just like we have mentioned, better planning, better responses to adverse events, just like we said, and less risks in operations and supply chain. Some supply relationship management best practices are easy and straightforward to execute, while others take more work and imaginations. It is very important that as you go in the line of supply chain, you cannot work in isolation. That is just the basic truth. Maintaining relationship with your supplier opens you up to things that you wouldn't even be able to get if you were to operate on your own. They are in the market. They know what is trending. They get information as regards policies, economic, governmental, climate, and all of that. They get information. And if you maintain a good rapport, active relationship with them, you can benefit from this. They can tell you, Mr. Zach, see, from my investigation, in the next 3 months, the prices of this commodity will skyrocket. I'm just telling you as a piece of information. What you now do with the information you are given is left to you. Whatever decision that you make out of it is left to you. But the truth is, with the relationship that you have with your supplier, they've been able to hint you of the future events that might happen. So it is very important. Then what then is relationship or suppliers relationship management? It is a systematic and ongoing practice of evaluating an organization's vendor of both goods and services to determine whether any changes could be made to improve business operation. I'm able to evaluate my vendor. Let me see this person that has been supplying me this item. What can I do from my own point to further strengthen this relationship, this bond, this friendship, this collaboration, this partnership? What can I do are there any things that I can do to change? Are there things that I can inculcate into it to bring a more healthy partnership that he wins, his interest is protected as well as my own interest? That is relationship. So while some SRM best practice take a lot of work, others are simple and intuitive, such as being nice to your supplier, communicating clearly, understanding their needs, and paying them on time. These are what critical factors in creating a healthy relationship. Yeah. Communicating clearly, not in an ambiguous manner. Communicating in a language they understand. Understanding their needs. Paying them on time. The payment of on time cannot be overemphasized. You cannot say that you want to be my friend. My own business is suffering as a result of my friendship with you, and you still want the friendship to continue? Nah, it isn't going to happen. So for you to pay me on time, it shows that you are also interested in my own business. You are interested in my own growth as a supplier. Being nice. to your supplier, to your vendor, a call away will show that you are nice. Inviting your vendor for end of the year party could show that you are nice. Celebrating them during maybe AGM could show that you have their interests at heart. All of these things further solidify the level of relationship between you and your vendor. Tell me a vendor or a supplier that gets all of these things and will not go all out to protecting the interests of the organization. There's none. But when you show them the other way, they also do what? Show you that they also have what you need from them. In other words, SRM involves thinking about what you prefer from your own customers and delivering the same things to your vendors. How will you want your customers to treat you? That is the same thing. Mark this, highlight this. Thinking about what you prefer from your own customers, and then in turn, delivering the same things to your vendor. A man that wants to show himself or that wants to be friendly must first and foremost show himself what's friendly. You want your customers to treat you well, and yet you don't want to treat your vendors well. It doesn't work. So what you want from your customers is what you also replicate towards your suppliers. Isn't agreement about the exact set of tasks covered by SRM, but broadly speaking, its goal is to add value to your organization by helping you make better choices about how to engage with suppliers and potential suppliers. We are talking about organizational growth. We are talking about making the right choices through the information gathered from your suppliers to add value to your organization. This is what relationship is all about. We say, for example, one supplier might be faster while another is less expensive. This kind of assessment can present supply chain managers with a clear way to decide which type of order should go to each company. Deciding which goods to buy from each supplier is equally what? Critical, as is what? Knowing when to add new suppliers. I have different suppliers. I know which one does what and which one does what. I cannot treat them equally based on their different responsibilities, but I treat them the way they should be treated based on what we are getting or what they're expecting from us. This person is working on a faster rate. This person is expensive. How do we treat one that is expensive and treat one that is what is faster? They have what? Different treatments. So I cannot, there's no need for what? Comparison. Say the other person, he does this, he's good at this. No, the peculiarity of each supplier should be learned, should be monitored, should be evaluated, and then you give to them what is expected. Okay, so the advantages to be gained by not adding a new supplier to manage and negotiate with, but if another company offers a better product or service in some category that none of your current vendors can match, it could be well worth the extra work and coordination. Okay, knowing when to negotiate, how to negotiate, why is negotiation? You see, there are people that will negotiate and they negotiate to kill the other business while their own business survives. That is not negotiation. That is not negotiation. Once I know, for example, there's a survey that is carried out for a particular product, a particular material, and the average, the most expensive, is 10,000. I have one that is selling for 9,800. The other one is selling for 9,000. It is absurd for me to say, hey, can you sell this product for 2,500? It is absurd. It is absurd. Why will I go that low? It means that I'm trying to force you to make a decision that will keep you out of the market. Your interest is not being protected by me, which is against the relationship tenets and processes that we are talking about. So it must be what? Well coordinated. It must be well coordinated. So let's talk about management process under supplier relationship. We say segment suppliers. How do you segment your suppliers? How do you segment your suppliers? T, Sarah, Rotimi, Raymond, Victor, how do you segment your suppliers? Just two people to contribute. How do you segment your suppliers?
Okay, I think if I'm to segment my suppliers, I'll segment based on the response, like how effective they are with their response, how fast they are with their response. That would be my first consideration. And then their ability to supply exactly what I need, to provide what I need. Those two things, how fast and ability to provide what is needed.
Their capacity.
Capacity, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other person?
Yeah, another way to segment supplier, like the other person's capacity, the quality that they can supply. Some can supply, they can meet your need by the quantity you want. Then the nearest to how near they are, how fast they can deliver on a timely basis.
Okay, thank you. So you are just talking about how important they are to your business. Any supplier that is not of importance to your business cannot be segmented, let alone having any contractual agreement. What do you bring to the table? What do you have to offer? Why should I take you? How relevant are you to the goal of the organization, to the objectives of the organization, to our business? It is true that we can now even talk about, okay, let's see if we can work with you. It is true that we can now start the whole process of trying to know you, the whole process of evaluating you, the whole process of background checks and what have you. So for any supplier to be segmented, the supplier must be of importance to that organization, to what they want to achieve. Then we talk about develop a supplier strategy. Create a tactical plan and conformance matrices for each supplier or category. Develop a strategy. What is this supplier coming to do? How will his or her effect be felt? What strategy can we use to get this person to give us the best? What strategy can we also use to get this other person to give us something extraordinary? What strategy can we use in order to have a cordial relationship with this, that we can get products even without payment? What strategy can we use to keep them? Since they are so important, in the eyes of this organization? What strategy? We must adopt a strategy. So if you are to be an inventory manager whose responsibility is to manage suppliers relationship, what strategy do you think you would develop for the suppliers? What strategy? Rotimi?
I don't have an idea.
Okay. Any other person, what strategy will you adopt or will you develop? I'm waiting.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. So, from my hand, one thing I will do with my supplier is I'm going to first of all have a baseline with them. What are the requirements? We have a document that we share together, their expectation. So, and that document is going to be like a contract terms. It's going to be an agreement document between me and them. I mean, the organization and them. And secondly, based on those agreed terms, I'm going to set up a review, a continuous process review, on a regular basis, just to checkmate with them, to ensure compliance and to also provide feedback and review. And at that performance review, it's going to be a two-way thing. They are also going to be speaking based on what they feel the organization can do better, what's their challenges, how can we work together to resolve those challenges that they are encountering. So if we have this kind, and so from this, like I said about performance, you're going to be having a contractual terms. So we're also going to be setting some key performance indicators for them. So these performance indicators will be ones that we are going to be using to track them and also score them based on performance. So, and that's performance, we are going to be having a review. In the review, we are going to look at those performance. Yes, their score. I can say it's a scorecard. So, in such a way, we'll continuously review our supplier. So it's going to even bring the best out of them, and all those bottlenecks and issues and everything is going to be discussed, and we're going to be always having improvement. So from my hand, I will say I will set key performance indicators, have a performance review to update, to get feedback one-on-one, so that we can always have a future improvements. Over.
Okay. So thank you very much for that analysis. Now, we can also develop communication strategy. We can also develop communication strategy. We can also develop stakeholders strategy. Okay. The reason for these strategies is simply on how to effectively manage these people. Like we talk about stakeholders, understanding your stakeholders, planning your stakeholders, communication, planning communication. How can this person be communicated with? What kind of communication channel best suits this supplier? Okay. So we say execute the strategy, assign people to tasks and continuously measure the strategy success. Like the last speaker said, key performance index, continual monitoring and evaluation to ensure that each person lives up to expectation based on the contractual agreement entered between the supplier and the company. So this are some of the key things that is involved in maintaining a healthy relationship with your supplier. Somebody is asking on the chat, says, can you just give, sir, please, can you just give a brief description of supplier segmentation? Supplier segmentation. Okay, supplier segmentation. So we'll run this at the end of this. Okay, so that will be attempted. So there are several ways to break down the SRM process. Every company will cite at least slightly different responsibilities and procedures, but the following steps should be taken. Segment the supply base. Segment what? The supply base. For example, dividing up suppliers by which items they provide, they shed light on where the business risks having to. What are we saying? Segment the supply base. You are into business. It is possible that you are not dealing with one supplier. You are not dealing with one supplier. So each of the suppliers must identify their items and tell us, shed more light onto why and how their item affects our organization positively. Why we should continue with them. Okay? So that the relationship can go smoothly and be more tightened. So not just one supplier will be the one to supply diesel. He's the one to supply fuel. He's the one to supply engine oil. He's the one to supply the car parts. The one supplier is the one to, no, they must be what? Segmented. Each supplier has its own role to play. Okay? So we say create a supplier strategy. This step is a combination of two things: deciding on your ideal supplier scenarios, that is, what you want your supplier arrangement to look like, and figuring out what moves and changes are needed to make that happen, at least to bring your actual agreement closer to the ideal. Create what? A supplier strategy. How do you create a strategy? We've talked about that. Then we say that collaborate with suppliers. Collaborate with what? The suppliers. You cannot do alone. Sometimes ask about their input. Even if you don't want to make use of it, ask them. Let them tell you from their own point of view. They might just be giving you an information that will blow your mind. Some information that will turn your business around for the better. Collaborate with them. Okay? Let them advise you. They might have the best outsourcing. They might have the best suppliers. Collaborate is very important. Okay? Then execute the strategy. For supplier relationship managers who have acquitted the first three steps, the next three should be easy. Excellent and adaptable planning goes a long way towards smooth execution. When executing strategy, start by following the plan you laid out when developing that strategy. Things won't always go exactly as planned, but having good collaborative relationship with suppliers will help you adjust on the fly. And good supplier segmentation will help you figure out what's most important when you're in the situation that requires trades. So what are we saying? Execute your strategy. Go back to the drawing board. The laid down ideas, goals, principles. What drives you, the driving force? Go back, follow it, develop it, deploy it, implement it. Improve supplier quality. There are two main ways to improve supplier quality. The first is to change what companies supply, which items, when, by segmenting and determining the strength and weakness of your supplier. You can maneuver timing of orders so that the quality of your orders improves. Improve your what? Supplier quality. Like we said before, your supplier is there to add value to your company. You are also there to add value to your supplier's company. Whatever thing it is, the quality of their suppliers must what? Improve. What can I do? What can I do to further strengthen the improvement of the quality? It might take you to possibly have a talk with them. It can take you advising them. It can take you giving them more time. It can even take you paying them right on time. It can warrant you paying a little slightly above what was agreed upon. Giving them more time, not pressurizing them on delivery. It can further do what? Improve their quality. Then we talk about continually monitor and adjust. Continually what? Monitor and adjust. There is need to do what? Continually monitor how they are doing. How they are doing. Is there anything to be adjusted? Is there anything that we can bring to bear, we can change? Continuous monitoring and what? Adjustment. We say that the only way to manage relationship with your is maintaining a good relationship with suppliers. Communicating, being honest, being clear with them, being reliable, and of course, on-time payments. That's the only way you can do what? Maintain a cordial relationship with your what? Your suppliers. What is the role of the supplier relationship manager? Bridging the gap between the supplier and the organization, standing as an intermediary, as an advocacy, as a point man, standing as a point man, standing as a solicitor between the supplier and the management. What can we do? The interest of the supplier is important. The interest of the organization is also important. How can we harness the two and get the results that we want? That is your responsibility as a manager. Every supplier comes with different traits. Every supplier comes with different psychological acumen, different race, culture, religion. It is your responsibility to have a research about each and every one of them and to figure out the strategy, adopt a strategy on how you can effectively deal with each and every one of them. She's a Christian. How do I deal with her? He is a Muslim. How do I deal with him? She's a Muslim. How do I deal with a Muslim female supplier? There are certain languages that is not tolerated. There are certain deals that cannot be welcome. How do I deal with? You must understand how to deal with these people based on their religion, their ethnicity, their tribe, their educational qualification background, their ideologies, and what have you. It is the responsibility of the supplier managers to do what? To get all of this sorted. Did you know that miscommunication leads to misunderstandings? which leads to loss of money and conflict. As a business owner, your job is to be what? Understood. The way to do that is by following up important conversation with a record of what was said. Concise communication by email is the way to do that. This is by Nick Huber, founder of Sweetie Startup. That miscommunication leads to misunderstanding. Misunderstanding leads to loss of money. And of course, there must be what? Conflict. Okay? So this is what we are discussing, that it is very important that you maintain a very healthy relationship with your suppliers, that both parties win. Is a win-win scenario. Now, before I take any question, let me go to answering what somebody said or the question that somebody asked. Okay. Talking about segmentation. Talking about supplier segmentation. Okay, as the word is supplier and as the word is segmentation, we are talking about segment. Is an aspect. Segment is an aspect. You have a building. There are so many segments of that building. There's visitors room, there's the kitchen, there's the lobby, there's master's room, the children's room, there's maybe gaming room, cinema room, dining room, and whatever. Those are segments, right? As far as that building is concerned. Now, as a supplier, as an organization, we are also making
We can't hear you again, sir.
yes. You hear me shortly, please. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
we can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay.
I can hear you now.
All right, yeah. So we are talking about different segments, okay, as far as the organization is concerned, right? So we are looking at differentiating suppliers, just like I mentioned a few minutes ago. Differentiating suppliers, preparing some kind of suppliers segmentation teams, okay? Knowing what each and every one of them has got to offer the organization. Let's say, for example, we want to get materials for building. We have somebody that is going to supply us iron rod. We have someone that is going to supply us sand. We have someone that is going to supply us cement, the roofing sheet. We have someone that is going to supply us electrical parts, component. We have someone that is supplying us the plumbing items. We have someone that is supplying us. These are what suppliers, what segmentation. Each and every one of them perform what a different role altogether, but in line with the objectives of the organization, the expectation of the organization. Okay, so that is what suppliers segmentation is all about. Some of them supply anything differently, but still part of the organization. Okay? So, but the whole idea of supplier segmentation is that everybody is put in their different position. I am supplying sand. That is where I belong. I will not say, Mr. Zakaria is not doing well. And me too, I want to start supplying sand. And I then move from supplying sand to supplying cement. No, there will be conflict. But where an organization has streamlined the supplier segmentation, that each person comes in and then occupies their roles, their position, it makes it easier. Let's say, for example, a typical organization, somebody comes in, an HR manager, another person comes in, an accountant, the other one comes in, procurement manager, this person comes, logistics manager, this other one comes, production manager. With this, there is no what conflict of interest. There's no there's no conflict in trying to say, I'm supposed to do this one. No, the organization has already positioned you where you will function as far as what you are called to do is concerned. So that is the same thing with what supplier segmentation. Any question, please? Any question, any input,
Yeah.
any comments,
Yes,
any
sir.
contribution?
Okay, it's Glory. If I
Yes.
understand you well, it means that supplier segmentation only happens after you must have selected your suppliers.
Yes.
Okay, so and then the
Yes.
strategy is developed for each supplier.
For each supplier, yes.
Okay, so if
The
for
reason,
example, like
okay.
a chocolate company, and my final product is chocolate, it means that I already have suppliers that are the best suppliers, for example, that I have selected, or a supplier that I have selected to give me cocoa seeds, another one to give me sugar, another one to give me oil or so. And then I build individual relationship strategies with these different suppliers.
Yes.
So how then do we, the aspect of prioritizing according to importance, how then does it come in? Because the supplier, each supplier has his own particular thing that he's supplying to the company.
Okay, prioritizing the three suppliers is just like saying between blood, what most important. The three are very, very important. Hence, they should be given the necessary treatment that they deserve without necessarily making or throwing it out to the other person to feel that I am more inferior than this other person, provided they are performing key functional roles. They should all be what prioritized. They should all be given a high sense of belonging and preference. So to me, in that aspect, the thing is, you don't necessarily need to say this person is more important than this person. Let me give preference or priority to this one. No, as far as they are doing what they are supposed to do, they are living up to expectation. Of course, they are not doing it for free. You are paying them. So once each person comes, does what he's supposed to do, he gets paid. Whether you prioritize or not, they have been paid, they've done what they are supposed to do, the business can end. So, in order of importance, the three of them must be given a sense of importance for the business for the interest of the business, they must be given a sense of importance. Any other person, you can contribute to what we are discussing.
Okay, good afternoon,
Thank you, sir.
Adenugba Emmanuel, your hand is up. Okay.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Please, I want to clarify me more on procurement manager and logistic manager. What's the similarity, or is there any difference between two of them?
Procurement manager and logistic manager.
Yes, sir.
Okay, my responsibility, I just want to put it in a very simple term. My responsibility is to ensure that my organization get the best of raw materials necessary for the production of the goods. However I'm going to get it, however I'm going to source it, is my sole responsibility. Negotiating with them is my responsibility. Okay? Once I do that, I may just be out of the scene. Your responsibility as a logistic manager is to ensure that the product, the raw materials, leaves where it is to where it should be, putting into consideration every other factors that must be put to bear. So my job is quite different from your job. I am there. Okay, how much is this? 500 naira. Can we pay 250? No, let's make it 450. No, we can do 300 last. No, let's do. At the end of the day, I get the best price for the company, the best quality for the company. The movement of that raw materials solely is in your hands to put everything in place. Where is the location? What will it take for us to move that product from where it is in the hands of the supplier to the facility, or moving the product from the company to the doorsteps of our end users, which is our customers? That is the difference between procurement and the logistics.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Any other person, please? Any other contribution? Zachariah, Ogechi, Tosin Raymond, Rotimi,
Yes.
Sarah T, Victor. Any contribution?
Thank you, sir. I think I want to contribute to the previous discussion.
Okay,
before
sir.
this question about difference between procurement and logistic managers. So in terms of prioritization, like you rightly said, I think for those people that you think are very important to you as suppliers in an organization, you may not need necessarily to differentiate. But where differentiation comes is when the kind of product that's supplying to you, maybe at what point do you need those products? For example, if you want, let's say in a hospital, you want this season, let's say 2 months back in parts of the north and some other parts of the country in Nigeria, there's prevalence of malaria. Cases of malaria are high. So, and you have some suppliers that supply you with other medicines as part of antimalarials. So definitely in terms of treating requests as an organization, you might want to treat those that will be giving you anti-malarial in the hospital, earlier than those that are giving you other medications. Not necessarily you are trying to say this one is more important, no, but you are just trying to prioritize in terms of the the sickness in question. I mean the prevalence of illness in question at that particular time. Yes, yeah. That's my contribution.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. Any other person? We are 7 minutes above our time. Any other person? Any contribution?
No, sir.
Okay. So in the absence of none, thank you very much for your time. It was very inciting, educating, and all of that. I really enjoyed the class for your lifetime experiences and sharing them with us. Also, we learned. Thank you so very much.
We enjoyed you too, Mr. Friday.
Thank you, sir.
You tried. You stood
Thank
for
you.
4 hours, non-stop. It's very commendable. Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. So let's
right.
enjoy our weekend. You can go for your parties now. In fact, they've even shared the jollof rice. So no need to.
Thank
They
you.
finished
Thank
sharing
you
the
All
very
right.
much, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Friday, you did wonder. Thank you for the mind-blowing lesson. I will always have you on this platform because you are wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of today's session. You all did great. I just want you to have a lovely weekend. Stay blessed. See you next time.
Thank you. Thank
Same
you.
to
Bye.
See you next
Bye.
Saturday.
Bye for now.
Bye.